Hello, boys and girls. How are we doing? Oh, sorry. As I started speaking, I realised I had some dinner in my teeth. Didn't know it was there until I spoke and felt it vibrating. It's gone now. Don't worry. How are we doing? Welcome to the pre-stream stream. This is where the cool kids hang. My chair's not right. Something's not right about the setup, and I don't know what it is. How are we all? Have we had a good weekend? We had a good Sunday. Is everybody good? Is everybody happy? Goodness me, I do hope so. How are we doing? Let's have a look to see what's going on down in the chat. Already some confirmation in there that this is where the cool kids hang. It is where the cool kids hang. The stream itself starts in 5 minutes. If you're here looking for the stream, don't worry. The stream is coming. This isn't the stream. This is the pre-stream stream. It's all very different around here. We can talk about whatever we want for 5 minutes. Is it the Weetabix stream? It's not, because we've literally just had a Chinese that I finished eating 20 minutes ago. Valentine's Day and all that. We just had a Valentine's Day Chinese. And I'm not supposed to eat after 8 p.m. So I would have 4 minutes whilst I'm full of Chinese to force Weetabix down my neck. So I'm not going to. We'll do the Weetabix tomorrow. there will be Weetabix consumed in tomorrow's pre-stream stream. Worry not. I did have some Weetabix and marmalade for breakfast today, though, and it was really, really good. Very tasty. We get to see your good-looking face 5 minutes early. Yeah, you do. What a beautiful face it is as well. What else have we got going on in here? Love your video on why and what you... Oh, yeah, there's a vlog that came out today that's gonna... It's already upsetting some people over on the vlog channel. Some people that needed upsetting. It's all part of my ongoing campaign to thin the herd on the vlog channel and allow me to reinvent it the way I wanted it to be all along. So I've done another video today to try and get rid of the people who are whining about the kind of content that I'm making at the moment. So fingers crossed it's got that job done. This is my first stream of yours. I don't normally watch streams. Fake Darcy, welcome to the stream. I hope you have a nice time. You finally convinced me to come from YouTube. How did I convince you? What did I say? What did I do that finally convinced you to come over from YouTube? What a birthday. Is it your birthday, Shady? You haven't even got me a present. That's how birthdays work, isn't it? Happy birthday, Shady, if that's what it is. Yeah, the pop from earlier is awesome. Was it earlier or was it yesterday? I forget when. Someone's made a pop. I need to show you this. This is really cool. Shady, how are you hungover? You can't go out. Have you just been drinking at home to celebrate your birthday? It was your birthday yesterday. What is my main channel? LOLLUJO. It's always been the FM channel's always been the main channel. Right, this is someone made me this, which is I say someone. It was Lee King, LKing3788 on Twitter has made me this pop, which is so very cool. And look at it, it's in a box and everything. He's sending that through to me. That should be with me by the end of the week. He has an Etsy store as well if you want to have a custom pop made. If we go to, there you go, a custom pop Etsy store, MMA Custom Creations. You should check it out if you want a custom pop. Lots of UFC custom pops on there, but I assume they do custom. Maybe I'm sure you could contact them and ask for a custom one. Maybe might be adding work to what they actually have to do, but this is just a very look at it. That is so cool. Now we have to work out what the original pop was that was wearing a suit and in that setup that they've customized. I'm interested. I need to know what the original one was now. It's very cool, isn't it? Adam, thank you very much for the sub. I enjoyed the premiere, so I thought I'd come along to the streams. Awesome! It was weird seeing you without a suit on the vlog channel earlier. I don't often wear a suit for the vlogs, do I? Normally just for the adverts. Drinking at home on a call with other streamers I watch. Fair enough. You've been saying that since you went back to Kevin Chapman from the Chapman family. How they not got it yet? What about which one's the main channel? Or what the content? People just take a long time to learn. Yeah, I think one thing I've learned in 5 years of doing YouTube and just doing social media in general is you have to remember that not everybody watches everything. So I could say something 10 times and the people who do watch everything will hear me say it 10 times. But there's every chance that the person who needs to hear it might not watch any of those 10 times and might not have got the message yet. So the today's video was very much a video design. I mean, it's completely cynical. I'm a monster. It was a video designed to hook in the people who need to get the message, to give them the message. So I've blatantly and openly clickbaited it to drag in the kind of people who I want to see it so they can get the message. Kev's a monster, confirmed. Hell of a pick, thank you for the sub. Jakey Williams, thank you for the sub as well. Should we play some Football Manager? It is now 8 o'clock. We need to get on with some Football Manager. And if you haven't been in the recent streams, I should probably bring you up to speed with what's been going on in the Football Manager. Nix, thank you for the sub. 9 months. You should watch the Daytona 500 while you stream. I don't even know what that is. Is that just driving around and around in a circle?
Kev, you should watch the Daytona 500 while you stream.
We talked about this last time. You suggested watching American motor racing. I have a roundabout that I can see from my upstairs window. I'll just watch that. It's the same. Pablo Winnow, thank you for the sub. Right. To bring you up to speed with what's been going on in the save, if you have missed a stream or two, this is season 4 now of the save. It's a UK and Ireland non-league to legend / journeyman kind of thing. We started unemployed. We ended up getting a job at LLANELLI in the first season, and since then we've been trying to leave, but no one will give us a job. First season we joined them partway through, so didn't get promoted from the second tier.
5 times LOLLUJO.
JM Thoughts, thank you very much for the sub. Second time round we did get promoted though. Last season we ended up finishing 3rd. We were actually top of the league for a lot of last season, but then bottled it at the end. And now we've completely rebuilt the squad over the summer, including a returning hero from non-league to legend from many years ago, who is looking a little bit special over here in Wales, Martel Taylor-Crossdale. And our job now, having had a little bit of a European adventure that ended up in us getting knocked out of the Europa Conference League in the qualifying rounds, it's now all about winning the league and hoping that winning the league is going to be enough to give me enough of a reputation boost to head over to Ireland or Northern Ireland or even Scotland for the next job in the journey at the end of the season. The one problem I've got is I don't have much in the way of coaching badges. I've asked our chairman if I can have one. We've got money in the bank. We asked him on the last stream if I could do a coaching course, and he said, almost word for word, he said, no, you can't do a coaching course because I'm worried you'll leave if you get coaching badges, which is exactly why I want to do coaching badges. Wayne has my number, boys and girls, and I don't care for it. I'm not getting on well with club owners on FM21. Cobbler Sean, thank you for the sub. 8 months now. Wonderful stuff. I'm going to try and get caught back up with the chat as well, because a lot's been going on while I was just doing that little intro thing. But yeah, that's where we pick up the story tonight. Right, where did we get to? So we could actually have little versions of the entire Streamer Showdown if it wasn't really expensive. I guess we could. That would be really cool, wouldn't it? But there isn't any grey in the beard of the pop. There's no grey in my beard. There's white patches, but they've been there all my life. There's no grey. I mean, there are little bits of grey at the chin now, but this bit here has always been there. I've got white patches like that over the back of my head and on the top of my head as well. Every time I go for a haircut with a new barber, you can guarantee they'll say, oh, what are these little white patches? Have you been painting? Or words to that effect. No, I just have these little white patches. It's just, I think it's where I've got moles. So where I've got slight skin discoloration. I have slight hair discoloration as well. I don't know if that's a thing. It's not like I've got a big mole here, but that's always been white. That is fully beard up there. It looks like I don't grow beard there. But if you get really close in, look, there's beard all over this. It's just all white, and it's always been white. It's very odd. You should wear the chicken mask as my present from you. I'm not going to wear the chicken mask right now because I've just eaten dinner, and it stinks still. Not my dinner, the chicken mask. Right. Comments on the latest video where people are trying to sound nice, but certainly giving a dig at you are so rude. I'm blocking a lot of them, Dan. If anyone who's used the it's boring or anything like that, your videos are boring, I don't need the negativity, so I'm just blocking them. I quite like giving people the opportunity to criticize because it means I can just block them and not have to hear them criticize anymore. How many crashes does my roundabout have? Do you watch car racing for the crashes? That seems a little morbid. Don't people get really badly hurt in car crashes? Where did we get to? I'm Irish, so can't wait for the Ireland part. We'll hopefully get there at the end of this season. Whether it'll be Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland, not sure. We will see. Are you going to lose the beard when it goes fully grey? No. I'll just look even more like George Clooney. We're 2-0 up after 2 minutes, by the way. No, I won't lose the beard. I am a man with a beard. I've toyed with the idea of dyeing it, but then it would just be really obvious. I make videos every day. If I suddenly turned up with a fully dark brown beard one day, you'd be like, oh, Kev's dyeing his beard then. So that ship has sailed long ago. So I'll grow old gracefully and I'll get a grey beard. It's distinctive. White or grey, what's the difference? I mean, they're different colours, aren't they? This is completely white, whereas grey is grey. When the rest of it goes grey, that will still stand out because it will still be a different colour to the whole grey beard. It'll be brilliant. Who just subbed? Jay Straight, thank you very much for the sub. Did I miss anyone? No, I didn't miss anyone. Good. Nobody has died in a top series NASCAR crash for 20 years. I would argue crashing in a NASCAR car is safer now than crashing in a regular car. But yeah, but still, if people are watching just to see people crash their car, that's weird. That's not why you're watching, surely. I'm hoping whoever that was who said that was just being a silly goose. Done my own non-league legend. Started with Boston, went to Coventry, ended up at Everton where I won the Champions League in my 4th season. So I turned it into a journeyman save and ended up at the bottom of Brazil with a team that have won 1 game in 29. I mean, that is quite the difference. Quite the difference from winning the Champions League to go and have to put up with that. Goodness me. Will non-league to legend end with Arsenal? A lot depends on how this season goes. If we just go and win the Champions League this year, then yeah. But I think it's pretty unlikely we're going to win the Champions League this year. So it might be that it leads to a bigger and better job. I'm certainly not looking for a job to leave Arsenal already. I've been there less than a year, or about a year, less than a year. I can't remember exactly when we moved. So I'm not looking to move away yet. But if I get offered a job from a bigger club, then I'll take it. And if we get to the point where the board aren't supporting me properly, or the board aren't showing enough ambition, then we'll maybe move on as well. I am a little bit concerned that the Arsenal board doesn't seem very ambitious. Am I not spending time with my wife tonight? Her husband would be furious if I did that. I mean, we split up 10 years ago. Her new husband would be absolutely furious. If you mean Anna, who I'm not married to, she's doing the normal nighttime routine stuff with Andy. So she's been at work all day. We've had dinner together this evening. That's why the stream started a little bit late. She got me a nice giraffe mug, as you can see, as a Valentine's gift. But we don't really do Valentine's Day, and she's been at work today. I'm working this evening. And then, yeah, that's just how it works. Can you ask Zealand why he enjoys hand egg with super bowls of... what is hand egg? What happens if I get sacked at home? Would that end the series? Yeah, probably. WWE champion Sasha Banks waved the green flag at the race today. I don't know if you watched that, Kev, but I thought it'd interest you. I mean, she's a good wrestler, but I don't need to watch her waving a flag. Would I want VAR in FM22? It's already in FM21. We might have to turn these long throws off. I think we're too good to use them now. What episode of Only Fools and Horses was Andy watching? I don't know. Rodney was wearing a white suit. They looked quite young. I wasn't really watching it. I've seen every episode of that so many times. I don't really enjoy the experience of it being on anymore. So I was just on Twitter, just doing Kevin things while he was really intently watching Only Fools and Horses. I think it was more a case of he didn't want to have to go out. He was still finishing off his dinner. He was just making it really clear that he didn't want to leave and that he was doing something so he couldn't go to pick up Anna yet. I don't think it was actually that he wanted to watch Only Fools and Horses. I don't want Colonel Sanders to play up front. I remember now he's a midfielder, isn't he? So if we stick him in there and that way we can bring Wolfman up front, yeah, we'll do that. This works. Hand egg is American football. I don't understand. As the richest man in FM, is it a case of this time next year we'll be millionaires? I'm already a Japanese millionaire. That's all I ever wanted out of life, and I'm already there. We're good. If I got sacked at home, would Dave not just take over? I think it would be quite nice to have the whole serious Jeopardy situation of, if I get sacked at home, we failed, and that's the end of the series. I think that would be quite a new and interesting and different way for a series to end. It'd certainly be one for the FM21's too easy brigade, wouldn't it, if I failed to finish a series and got sacked? I think I'd be comfortable doing that, ending the series there, rather than... It's not like... there's been other years where I've said, oh, I'll probably just re-add a manager because I haven't had another idea for what to do next, but I've got 2 or 3 more saves that are ready to go, pretty much. Oh, that's an injury. Oh, dear. That's a shame. Because that's probably his career finished. Because he won't be the same player. At 18 years old, he's not going to come back as the same player now. He'd already had to come over and play in the Welsh Premier League. He was probably coming here thinking, right, I'm going to really... West Ham have released me. I'm heading to the Welsh Premier League to rebuild my career. 8 games in, cruciate ligament done. Yeah, I think Sean Robinson is probably done. Bless him. I just heard a mention of Zealand. I listened to his and Ben's new podcast the other day. You and Ben said that a lot of people are trying to emulate Zealand in the FM community, and there he is emulating UK. Weren't you doing podcasts before podcasts were cool? Yeah, I basically invented podcasts. I've been doing podcasts since 2009 was my first podcast, and I've been doing them weekly ever since. So yeah, I have one of the longest running gaming podcasts ever. It's the most downloaded independent gaming podcast on UK iTunes history. Yeah, I've been there, done that. I graduated from podcasts. Podcasts are great. I love podcasts. That guy will be streaming on Twitch in a few years. What, the midfielder who just did his knee? Yeah, probably. This is going to be my big break. Yeah. It's sad, isn't it? Should there be difficulties in FM? No. I think it would be nice if the game itself was just a smidgen harder. What I think they should do is the game itself probably should be a little bit more difficult, which I think you do by improving the AI, both of the team that you're working with, the staff that you're working with, and the opposition. I think the AI needs improving to make it more challenging. And then to balance that out for new players, you can get more support off of your backroom staff. I think that's probably the way to go with it. Having difficulty levels is dumb for a game where you're not directly in control. But then I say that, and now I'm immediately potentially talking myself out of it, because I guess stuff like Civilization has difficulty levels, doesn't it? And you're not directly in control of that. So, I don't know. I guess in Civilization, the difficulty level just ups the aggressiveness and the intelligence of the AI, doesn't it? So, I don't know. I think it would be unrealistic for them to develop multiple different levels of AI. I think you just have to have the game at a set AI difficulty level. But then you can get more or less help as you need it, maybe. I'm not sure. Is the hate in the streamer showdown between me and Zealand especially actually real? Oh yeah, we can't stand each other. Can't stand each other. No one hates each other in the streamer showdown. That's why we do it. If anyone who genuinely had a problem with anyone else wouldn't be in it anymore. If there was actual genuine dislike, that person or those people just wouldn't be involved, because it would be impossible to run if we actually couldn't communicate with each other and didn't like each other behind the scenes. We're all playing exaggerated versions of ourselves, and me and Zealand, the characters, our personas that we've formed as content creators, are directly opposite. So there's just natural tension between our personas. Hangry Bears, thank you for the sub. He's Mr. Tactical Fiddly guy, whereas I'm Mr. Plug and Play guy. And they're at polar opposites of how you can... Me and Zealand are basically the two extremes of how you can play Football Manager, and everyone else is kind of somewhere in between, but me and him are at completely opposite ends of the fiddly spectrum, I think we'll call it. So there's just naturally going to be lots of conflict between us when it comes to competitive play, especially when I keep handing his backside to him over and over and over again, and there's nothing his little button pressing can do to stop it. Instead of the difficulty level is just a cheat, basically they get more resources. Is that so? So I guess you could put something like that into FM. I don't know, you could give the AI more money or better youth players, but I think that then stops it being a pure simulation, which is what's so great about it at the moment. Talking of showdowns, 2 weeks today for number 6. I mean, is it even in question? Do we even need to worry? LOLLUJO reminds me of a Tintin villain. I don't think I've ever watched or read any Tintin, so I don't know if that's good or bad. Oh, that's a beautiful finish. Robbie is quite good. Robbie. Hannah, thank you for the sub. Kev plays Football Manager, Zealand plays Pause Manager. My way of putting that would be Kev plays Football Manager, Zealand pauses Football Manager. I'm currently top of the National League in my non-league to legend. Nice. As they're looking to attract new people to the game, they may keep the game slightly easier. I mean, that's obviously why it's being done, and I do get that, but you have to find that balance between bringing new people in, but also making sure the longevity that's always been the real hallmark of Football Manager's success stays there. Because, and they'll have these analytics, they'll know. I mean, they don't judge the game based on nerds like me who are playing 2,000 hours a year on it or more. They don't care how easy or difficult I find it, because I'm less than 1%. People like me make up less than 1% of the people who are giving them money. In fact, I don't give them money. They give me the game for free. They don't care if I like it or not. To a point. So they'll be looking at, of the people who've got it, are they still playing it? Are they playing it as much as they used to? If they were bringing in loads of new people, but were seeing that people were playing it for half the time they have done traditionally, then they might fiddle with it. But if they're bringing new people in and those people are playing the game more than ever, which I think is the situation they're in at the moment, so they've added new players, and those players are all playing it for longer than they did before, then obviously, as far as they're concerned, the game is moving in the right direction, and it doesn't really matter if nerds like me are finding it a little bit easy. The onus is then on me to find a way to make it more challenging for myself by doing stuff like going to Wales with no coaching badges, or refusing to sign players over the age of 18 and all that kind of stuff. So we'll balance it ourselves if we have to. If SI had to be taken over by any other company, which would you choose? No wrong answers except EA. I mean, you say EA would be a wrong answer, but if they allowed Sports Interactive to operate completely independently, the way Sega effectively do, and they were just owned by EA, but operating independently within EA, but benefiting from having all the licenses that EA already own, would EA be that bad of an answer? Would EA be that, but would it be that bad, really? I'm struggling to, and it is with that big proviso of if they kept their independence within that structure, would it be that much of a problem? I don't know that it would. What surprises me is how the AI teams don't use their data analysts and stuff. Not being funny, but if I play 3 seasons with the same tactics, surely at some point the AI team should wise up to me and develop a counter. But the problem there is you're going beyond a game simulation and almost going into the realms of machine learning, which is a whole other discipline of computing and programming, and it's hard. You know, that if you If you think Football Manager melts your processing power at the moment and heats your laptop up at the moment, if you had it in there doing machine learning stuff, Kev is paid off by EA, confirmed. Kev just doesn't have the cartoonish hatred of EA that lots of people that it's cool to have at the moment. EA makes some good games. I wish they were paying me. Surely EA would implement a way of making people pay real life money to obtain leagues, players, or bonuses of some kind, based on FIFA as your one example of where they've done that. Presumably, there's loads of EA games that you don't have like microtransactions in. Just because FIFA and Madden and them work a certain way doesn't mean every EA property works that way. Like BioWare, as a developer, get to operate within EA pretty much independently of the rest of the EA structure and get to work on the IP that they want to work on and produce the games that they want to produce, and they're pretty much left alone from what I can gather. So if Sports Interactive could get the BioWare deal and be a standalone developer with it under the umbrella, then what's the big deal? I mean, it's not going to happen, but if it did, it's not really a big deal, I don't think. Someone help me change my FM skins. I'm new to PC gaming. I would say don't bother changing the skins then. I don't. I've played the game for over 25 years and have never changed the skin. Don't worry about it. Shutting down studios for no apparent reason is a big one. Yeah, that would be the fear. That's why I say you need the big if and stuff on there. But, I mean, ultimately, Sega could shut SI down tomorrow, presumably, if they decided they wanted to. So, fingers crossed it doesn't happen, because otherwise I'm going to have to go and get a real job. Can you imagine? Oh, I feel like if SI had big money backing, the amount of money they'd have to pay for licenses would go way up. Yeah, probably. Which is why I'm saying a partnership with EA might be the best solution, because they've already got the licenses. Just rebrand it FIFA Manager. Boom. Done. People would get all hissy about it for a little while, but if it's the same game, just with licenses, wouldn't really bother me, I don't think. Do I prefer the old makeup of Championship Manager or the new Football Manager module? Personally, I prefer the old game. I think the franchise has just got better and better every year for 25 years. There's never been a year where I've gone back and played the previous year's game or wished I could play the game from several years ago. FM21 is the best football management game that's ever been made. No question. Did EA not try a version of FM called FIFA? They did make a FIFA Manager game and it was rubbish because they didn't have SI making it. Yeah, I know FIFA Manager is a thing. It just wasn't very good. What I'm saying is if they bought SI and said, right, you lot are making FIFA Manager now, that would probably be quite a good game. CM9798 is hard to beat. I mean, people say stuff like that, but it was beaten by the one the following year and the year after that and everyone subsequently. I think a lot of people look back on old versions of Championship Manager and Football Manager with rose-tinted spectacles. And a lot of people's best ever version of Football Manager or Championship Manager just so happens to coincide with when they were at uni or when they were in sixth form or when they first moved out of home or whatever year it was where they got to play it for 2,000 hours. That's the best version ever made. Because that's the one they played a lot. And now people are a little older and they don't get to play it as much, so it's not as good. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's always got better every year. I used to say I preferred Championship Manager, but went back and played a game 15 years ago, and it was so much worse than the current games. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if people say to me they preferred Championship Manager, what I would say to them is, right, for the next month, don't play FM on your PC, only play FM mobile. Because FM mobile is basically Championship Manager 102. So if you genuinely are telling me you prefer Championship Manager 102, don't play FM on PC for a month, just play FM mobile. Then come back to me in a month and tell me again that the new one isn't better. I often find a favourite game is the one they play first because it was all they knew. Yeah, maybe. That's a lovely finish just there from the little fat lad from Forest. I've only been playing since FM14, but I do agree that the games have been getting better and better. Awesome stuff. Wait, you know someone that plays FM for less than 2,000 hours a year? Yeah, they're called adults or parents. I went through many years of not... I mean, we can have a look at my Steam now. Obviously, I only moved to Steam in like 2009, I think. How do I show you? It's this one, isn't it? So we can go back as far as Steam will let me. So 2009, I only played 729 hours. So this was after I was a dad. This was, in fact, the year I went to uni. So that year, I only played 247 hours. 428. 310. 423, 220 on FM14. Only 220 hours on FM14. 406 hours on FM15. And I was making content then. At the end of FM15, I started YouTube. So it should go up from here. 657. That was I started YouTube on the 15th. No, in fact, yeah, I started YouTube. That was an entire year of YouTube content. 725. And this is when I went full time, so it's gone up a little bit. 1118, 1081. And it's only been in these last 2 years that it's gone absolutely insane. Where's FM20? It's that one, isn't it? 1636. And then 21 is mad. It's already up at 936 hours and it's only February. But yeah, it's quite normal to only play a couple of hundred hours. I play 2,000 plus hours and I'm a parent, but I usually forget to turn the game off. Yeah, so you're not playing 2,000 plus hours, are you? The game's just on for 2,000 plus hours. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I've never got to 1,000 hours of FM so far. I never did until I was doing it full time on YouTube. Because I would never just leave it running. I would turn it off when I wasn't playing it. And I've always played lots of other games as well. Like I spent probably 7 or 8 hours yesterday playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Because I've finally discovered that after being bullied into playing it by the rest of the podcast. And I'm really enjoying it. So it's not that FM's the only game I play. Which I know is, for a lot of people who are really into FM, it's the only game they play. But for me, I've always been a gamer whose favourite game is Football Manager. 2,500 plus on every FM that I've owned. And that's 2,500 hours of you actually actively playing the game and not just leaving it on in the background while you do other things. Because that's more than double what I've ever had playing it all day, every day as a full-time job. So I find it impossible to believe you could actively play for 2,500 hours a year. Just seems very unlikely. I only play FM and Rocket League. Fair enough. I have 1,300 hours so far. Blame it on lockdown, and I play other games. Yeah, I mean, I think lockdown has a lot to do with the fact that I'm already nearly at 1,000 hours on FM21. Plus, I've done a lot of experiments this year as well. Remember, I've done the holidaying 500 years into the future stuff, so you can probably take account of maybe 150, 200 of those hours when we just holiday in the game to do that. So if you take that out, I'm nowhere near 1,000 hours yet this year. But yeah, everyone's hours are up a little bit at the moment. I used to have the game on from 8 AM till 10 PM at night every single day, apart from when I was in work. Yeah, but you're not actively playing it for that time, surely. Surely. People keep trying to talk me into playing Red Dead 2. Do I think it's any good? I'm enjoying it. I'm so far. I talked a little bit about it on the podcast this week. It was sold to me as the greatest story ever told in a video game. That was because it was voted our game of the generation on the podcast, and the other folk on there really tried to really hammer this. It's the best story in a video game ever, and I love a story in a video game. And I was like, okay, fine. Challenge accepted. Let's go and find out if it's the best story ever told in a video game. I'm like 30 hours in, and it's a fun game, but I'm not seeing this best story ever told in a video game yet. I'll play it to the end. I'll experience it in full, but story-wise, it's not up with either of the Last of Us games. It's no Detroit or Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls or even Grand Theft Auto 5, The Walking Dead Telltale series, most of the Telltale stuff. There's a lot of things I would put above this story-wise at the moment, but I'll give it until the end and judge it properly. Do the other people of the podcast like Cyberpunk? I think we all like Cyberpunk. I just stopped playing it for a while because I'm waiting for patches now. I'll wait for an actual PS5 version rather than a PS4 glitch fest that works on PS5. So I'll start it again when the full PS5 version that actually works is out. Because I was really enjoying the bits of it that I played. Pabs finished it, I think. He really liked it. Anna's very close to finishing it as well. They're kind of... Pab's playing it on PC, which makes it a little more bearable because it's a lot less glitchy on PC. Anna's just battled through on the PS5, but I'd rather just play it properly. Have I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla? I've not played an Assassin's Creed game since Black Flag. That was the last one I played. I got annoyed that they dropped the Desmond story pretty much, and I didn't like the boats, so I never played beyond Black Flag. Anna tells me Assassin's Creed Odyssey is one of the best games she's ever played, but it would take more than it being a fantastic game to drag me back into Assassin's Creed now. I need them to promise to resolve my Desmond story properly. For me, the Desmond part of the story was the best thing about Assassin's Creed, and the stuff when you went into the past was fine, and I got through it quickly to get back into the story of the game, which was with Desmond. And it seems that I was in the minority, and most people just liked the historical hack and slash nonsense of it. And now it's basically become an RPG, and it's too unwieldy and big for me now. Assassin's Creed 2 was like a 20-hour game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like a 100-hour game, and I only have so many slots in my life for 100-hour games at my age, and with how busy I am. I love the story of... Yeah, Persona 5 is another one that's great for story. Agreed. I still haven't played Persona 5 Royal properly. In fact, the disc for it is there. I need to sell that because I've now downloaded it on my PS5, but I've packaged my PS4 up to sell today. It sold on Friday. I've got to post it tomorrow, so I took the game out. Need to sell that game as well because I've now bought it again as a download for the PS5. I will play through Royal and get to the end. Do I like city builders like SimCity or Banished? It's not something I've ever really got into. When they brought back SimCity a few years back and everyone else hated it, I really enjoyed that. But I'd never played the older SimCity games, and I thought that was a lot of fun. And I went back and tried to play the older SimCity games and tried to play City Skylines and couldn't get into them because they were just there was too much to learn and not enough in the way of tutorial for me. So I think that kind of thing is just not really for me. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is my favourite story game. That's the one where you control them both, one on each thumbstick, isn't it? Is that the one? I thought that was such a clever little control scheme in that game as well. I liked that one. What about the Total War series? Never played it. I've never really been a PC player. I've always been a console gamer who only owned a laptop to be able to play FM on it. I was never really into PC games. Are you getting Mass Effect Legends Edition? No, I don't really do remasters. Especially for Mass Effect, it was so story driven, and I know what the story is now, so there's going to be nothing pushing me through to play it again. Would I play AEW on PS5 or... Well, I don't own a PS4 anymore, so I'll probably get it to have a look. I don't really play wrestling games anymore because the WWE ones have been rubbish for a while, but I'll get it when it comes out and have a look at it. I love Cyberpunk. Play it on PC. Great mix of GTA 5, Watch Dogs, and PC fixing simulator. Whilst I spend hours installing and uninstalling drivers, it's like a puzzle to get it to work. Nice. What about God of War? See, people tell me the new God of War game. I say the new one. It's years old now, like 2 or 3 years old, isn't it? People tell me how great it is. I played it. I tried to. I actually made a YouTube series on it. I got like 7 or 8 hours in, and it just didn't grab me at all. I never really liked God of War games anyway. I've never finished a God of War game. I always just lose interest in them. And the newer one was the same kind of thing. It took me longer to lose interest than it normally does, but I still ultimately lost interest in it. I'd rather play Devil May Cry any day. If I'm going to have that kind of game, I'll play Devil May Cry rather than God of War. What would I recommend to play on PlayStation? At the moment, if we're talking PS5, I'd recommend don't get one yet, because there's nothing to play on it. Stick with a PS4 for now, and then there's loads of stuff to play on there. Just go on Metacritic and get the top 5 games off there. They're all great. You should try Fire Pro Wrestling World. I tried it. I didn't really like it. I couldn't get past the tutorial. I mean, they sent me an early copy of it before it was out, and you could only control on keyboard, so that probably had a lot to do with it. Trying to get through the tutorial with keyboard controls just broke me, because again, not really a PC gamer. I can't do the whole keyboard and mouse WASD thing. I just never grew up doing that. This is the first gaming PC I've ever owned. So when I used to play shooting games, it would always be on a controller. So yeah, the idea of using a keyboard to control a video game just breaks me. Have I played Ghost of Tsushima? No. Anna's played a lot of it and tells me it's great. But again, like I was saying before, I've only got so many spaces in my life for massive games. And that one hasn't given me any reason to suggest why it should get one of those spaces. TNS are broken on FM. It's not that they're broken, it's that they're the full-time team. I mean, my understanding is this is pretty similar to what it's like in real life. You're really just fighting for second place in the Welsh Premier League because they're a full-time team who can afford to give their players loads of money and do this to the second best team in the league. And there's very little we can do about it. On a controller, that's not old. I never said using a controller was old. It's just that's how I grew up playing games. I'm much more comfortable with a controller than I am with a keyboard and mouse. I think you mean Ghost of Tiramisu. That is what Anna calls it. Oh dear. Just oh dear. Well, we've been thumped there in this first half by TNS, which is nice. You can use a controller on PC. Yeah, but then I would ask why would you bother? Why don't just play on console? And especially if you're playing a shooting game, although theoretically you can use a controller on PC, you may as well not bother playing if you're going to use a controller, because the keyboard and mouse lot will just ruin you. Cheaper. I get sent a lot. We get sent a lot of our games for free anyway. It's the perks of one of the perks of the podcast. So we just tend to. I mean, it's a little bit different now because they often send them on disc. And I don't have a disc drive on mine anymore. 144, 240 hertz. See, I've never cared about any of that. I don't believe anyone with normal human eyes can tell the difference. I think it's just my old man eyes. I remember when everyone was making such a fuss about 60 frames per second. And I'm like, I mean, I would genuinely never know. I could not watch a piece of game footage and tell you what frames per second or what hertz it was. I wouldn't know. It's just a game. I don't understand. I get that for some people they can really, really, really see it and it's super important. I can't. Realistically, when do you expect to challenge for the title in this league? Realistically, I don't think we ever will. I think we'll leave before winning the league. I think it would be nice to finish second, but I don't think we're going to win the league in Wales. I just don't think it's possible. Would I like to work for SI? Maybe in like 15 years' time, when I'm too old for YouTube, I could go and work there part-time as a little retirement gig without wanting to sound like a super wang. They can't afford me at the moment. So it's not really an option. I wouldn't give up what I'm doing now to go and work there. But if this went away, then that would be a fun job to do, I should think. Why do you not think it's possible I did it in 8 years? Because of what you've included in that sentence. I'm trying to make content here. Me losing for 7 years is boring content. So I'm not going to stay here for 8 years to win the league, which is why it's not possible for me to win it, because we need to be moving on. We can't just keep plugging away and not really making any progress. I would love an FM style wrestling GM mod game. Total Extreme Wrestling is what you want. It is that. I can imagine Kev being the guy who dictates how corners and long throw mechanics work. Yeah. They should get me in for testing them. I should be their test case. They should send me early code of FM22 and say, no, look at all these corners I've scored. Look at all these long throws. Ah, I've just thrown my pen at my groin. Now I don't know where it's gone. What would I add to FM36? I want it to be fully VR. Oh, I drank that too quick. I'm going to burp big now. Bear with me. I hope I pressed that mute button. That was foul. Oh, that has got some oomph behind it. What's my favourite console I've ever played? Probably the Switch. The Switch is perfect. For the stage of my life I'm in now, the Switch is the perfect console. Because I love the fact that I can play it on the telly if I want to, but I can also play it handheld if I want to. And it plays all my favourite games. Brilliant. What leagues would I want added on FM22? I don't need to add any. I'm happy with the leagues that are in there. As long as they don't take away any... I mean, there's stuff that in an ideal world I'd like. Like, in a perfect world, tier 10 would be fully licensed and coded into the game right from the start, so we didn't have the database issues that we get every year. But at the same time, I know it's completely unrealistic for them to do that. It would be far too expensive to pay for all of the research that would need to be done to go down to that level. So it's never going to happen. I wouldn't want them to increase the price of the game to do that. If they ever go and do my subscription model, which I still think is the way forward, and charge us all $7.99 a month or $4.99 a month, whatever it is, never release a new game, just here you go, here's your Football Manager subscription, it's a £5 a month, which means we'll all be paying double the price we do now, and never getting a new game. But they could just add new leagues, new data all the time. If they were able to do a subscription model, then it would be nice if they justified it by saying, yeah, we're doing a subscription model, it's going to cost you a little bit more, but you can cancel whenever you want. So for those of you who only want to play it for 3 months a year, you're paying less. For those of you who want to play it all year long, we're going to get loads more leagues in with the extra money that we're making. I think that would be cool. Do you ever think they'll get to the point where they'll add women's divisions to the game? From a purely business perspective, if the women's game ever gets as big as the Conference North and South, maybe. But it probably won't. I don't know. It might do. Who knows? If it gets to the point where enough people are demanding it, then they will. That being said, I know Football Manager like to do their... how do I phrase this? Look at us, aren't we socially aware stuff. So they might add it in just as a statement of equality, which I think would be fair and fine. But I think from a purely business perspective, there's not actually an argument to add it in at all at the moment because most people won't play it. How many people played it when they added it into FIFA? Is it even still in FIFA now? Or did they just add it in as a one-year gimmick, realise no one played it and take it back out again? So basically like Microsoft Office. Exactly like Microsoft Office. I would love that. I don't know why they don't do that. Miles has said the women's game is on the roadmap. Excellent. I played it once on FIFA, then never again. And I imagine that's what almost everybody did. So, because the problem you have with adding the women's game is you'd have to rethink how all the attributes work. Because obviously men and women are physically different. So the weighting that certain physical attributes get would have to change and be different. You'd need to redo all of the animations and the motion capture. It would be difficult to do. It would be expensive to do. And if people aren't going to play it, ultimately it's going to be expensive and time consuming to do. And is it actually going to sell more games? If it's not going to sell more games, is it worth spending the money on doing? Plus the whole adding pregnancy as an injury. Imagine a star striker being out for 10 months on maternity leave. I mean, that's pretty easy to code in. You wouldn't have to rethink the attributes as men and women would be separate. Yeah, but they'd still have to work differently. Do it where you buy a standalone game or like Office subscribe, so you get updates year on year, and in your subscription you get extra bits like one-off payment. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's something they've talked about. For a developer like them who make one game a year, a subscription service, I would imagine, makes more sense from a business perspective than doing a one-off game every year. And I imagine it's a discussion that's been had. I don't know whether it's right or wrong to actually end up doing it. I don't know what the outcome of any discussions they might have had would be. But for me, I would certainly be exploring the idea of FM as a monthly subscription if I was involved in any way in the development of the game, because I think it's a way for them to make more money whilst at the same time allowing people like me who will buy everything they offer to get more content, whereas the people who aren't as into it could pay less. I think it's potentially win-win all around if it's done right. But they'd have to be so... The risk is you get it wrong and it ruins the company because they've only got the one game. And if it goes wrong, you're kind of stuffed, aren't you? Would that mean you would lose the customizability of FM? I don't know. I don't know how it would work. I guess the argument would be, if it made them more money so they could afford licenses, what do you need to customize at that point? If they can put all of the player faces and kits and licenses in, if they can buy all the leagues they haven't got, if they can pay for more researchers to go deeper down the pyramid, so all the stuff that we mod, if that could all be in there as standard because they were making more money, would you need to be able to customize it? I guess you'd lose people making custom skins and retro databases and stuff like that, but I think for me that's a trade-off I would make, to be able to have everything fully licensed down to the lowest playable legends levels imaginable and just all working perfectly out of the box. But that's because I'm not really a modder. I don't really care about all that side of things. So I guess I'm not the right person to decide. What about adding another sport? I mean, that you wouldn't be able to do that within the same game, would you? Because it would be entirely different. They have made other sports management games, haven't they? They made East Side Hockey Manager, which I think then got spun off to another developer. I don't know if it still exists, but I know it was made for a time. Out of the Park Baseball as well. Wasn't that a Sports Interactive thing? Maybe I'm confusing the two. Did they do East Side Hockey Manager or was that someone else? But there was Out of the Park Baseball. I'm sure one of them was SI. Maybe they both were. Before they have the Women's League, they need to sort the reactions that club gives to female managers. I've tested it playing as me as a female and as a male, and the game and players had much more respect when I played male. That's interesting. What? And it's obvious in the game that's why? That's interesting. Eastside Hockey Managers SI, Out of the Park Baseball isn't SI. Okay, I knew one was and wasn't. They could charge a $5 a month and make an extra 30%-ish. That's pretty damn good. Exactly. And obviously some people would just play it for a couple of months and only pay a tenner. But then I guess you have to factor in how much money they're actually making per copy now. If the likes of 2Game, who I was doing my affiliates with, if they're able to sell it for 27 quid, how much are SI actually making per copy that's sold? They can't be making much more than about 15, 20 pounds a copy. Going back to SI, surely. So if you're getting a subscription directly from Sports Interactive at $4.99 a month, and all of a sudden they're now keeping, let's say they're now keeping 90% of $4.99 rather than keeping 40% of $39.99, they're actually making an enormous amount more money. And people have got the flexibility to pay what they want to pay. You could even do like give people a free season as an intro. There's all sorts of ways you could get people in a subscription service. That was a bit of a bottle job, that game. That's not good. The press conference questions change as a female manager. Sexism in football, and do you think you'll struggle to gain respect, etc.? Okay, fair enough. I mean, I guess again that's just part of simulating the game. That you've got to find that balance between making it accessible to everybody and being a real leader in the areas of like removing discrimination and stuff from the game. But at the same time, it is still a simulation. And I think if any men's football team, if any men's professional football team appointed a female manager tomorrow, I mean, what do you think the reaction's going to be from the media, from the fans? I mean, we don't live in an ideal world, do we? You've got to simulate what you think would happen. And I think if a football team got a female manager, that would be all that was talked about in press conferences for a little while. It'd be all the media were talking about. And if they started to struggle, you can guarantee there'd be fans and media leaping on it as proof that women can't manage football teams. So I guess it's difficult working out where to draw the line. I hope nobody from SI is watching when Kev talks about how to do subscription services. I like it how it is. I've had this conversation with Miles years ago. He knows my thoughts on it. I think I would like it. But then I know other people wouldn't. Already happened in France. Manager of second league club was a lady. A lady manager, Shelley Kerr, was in charge of BSC Glasgow, who are a junior team. Now she's manager of France Women. Excellent. And how did the media react? I mean, I guess it's a little bit different. You say BSC Glasgow, who are a junior team. How different would the media reaction have been if she was manager of Celtic or Rangers? There's obviously going to be media kerfuffle, isn't there? In real life, I think wrongly gender would be a discussion point if results were wrong. Exactly. Emma Hayes is in FM. She gets managerial jobs in the game. She does. I've seen that happen. So again, SI at the forefront of trying to push it, but at the same time trying to keep it balanced. She's Scotland ladies manager now. Exactly. So again, that's different. She's not managing a men's team. Is it not the same with males managing women's teams? No, not really. Because their stupid-brained thought process is, of course, men can do it. Big, strong man helping out the silly little ladies. That's going to be a clip, isn't it? Out of context, Kev. I think having a woman manager would be the same as some of the women's refs. No one will notice when they do well, but as soon as they make a mistake, gender is the only talking point. I think that's probably summed it up perfectly. Some of my most fun saves are me doing female managers. Probably want to rephrase that. Any good Northern Ireland, any good Northern National League players? I don't know where I got Northern Ireland from. Any good Northern National League players I should sign? I don't really know players off the top of my head. We're winning again. Hooray. Oh, it's about time we got back to winning ways after a ropey little run. Although I guess we are only 1-0 up after 19 minutes at the moment. Maybe it should be one of your future challenges, Kev, to begin as a female manager in the lower leagues and work the way up. I mean, it hadn't occurred to me that it would make a difference. If you're telling me it actually makes a difference to how the game plays, then I might, because that might be a fun little challenge. But my instinct is there might be the odd different press conference question, but I'll get my assistant to do the press conferences like I always do. I'm not going to waste my time doing press conferences. So I suspect it won't actually be any different from just doing it as a man. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it'll be any different. Sadly, there would just be horrendous abuse thrown at female managers from some fans. This already happened with Mansfield's owner. She was abused horribly at a game. Yeah, because people are stupid morons. If you get sacked by home, maybe Anna takes over. Oh, can you imagine the tension between Anna and Mrs. Wearmouth? I don't think they'd get on. I think SI would have some serious questions to answer if the game was harder just because you chose to be a female. Yeah, exactly. Anna would murderize Mrs. Wearmouth. She probably would. When arranging friendlies midweek, what teams do I choose as my opponent? It depends. I mean, usually just a local team. Just go to nearby teams and just pick the one with the funniest name, usually. Or if there's one I used to manage, maybe pick them. Oh, we're not back to winning ways. It's all gone wrong. Watto82, you might want to adjust your terminology you're using in that comment you've just put. I can see you're coming from good intentions, but you can't be typing that in 2021. as a few people have just mentioned as well. Oh, we've scored a goal. Mods, do you want to just clean that up? We don't need a timeout or anything. I don't think it's come from a place of... I don't even know how to phrase this right. Yeah, Bran has... Yeah, don't think he meant anything malicious by it. Completely agree. But yeah, it's not terminology we can really be using in this chat. This is where if I had the words, I would seek to educate you as to why you shouldn't be saying that. I'm not the person to educate you on that kind of thing, but I'm sure if you Google it, you could probably learn a valuable lesson. And I'd probably recommend you do that. Past 9 PM and all the mods have gone to bed. They're all playing Call of Duty together, more like. Goodness me. We don't need to dwell on it, folks. Like we said, there's no malicious intent. We've dealt with it in a nice, friendly way as a group. We can move on now. I'm pretty proud of the fact no one's started an internet war off the back of it. So appreciate the fact that you lot are awesome. Well done. Right, shall we turn the fan on? It's getting a bit warm in here, isn't it? Whew. Goodness me. Yeah, let's move on. I've got indigestion now. Let's talk about how good Crawley Town are. Are Crawley Town good? We just won a football match. I need to burp again. I'm drinking my drink too quickly. I need to have a sippy cup. I need to be regulated. Oh, I shouldn't stream after a big takeaway. That's the problem. Valentine's Day's ruined me. One moment. Bleep, mute button again. That burp felt like it came up from the depths of hell. I felt it leave my toes and then rattle up through my body before leaking out. There was no explosion of gas there. It was just a slow... as it left my body. That was amazing. What did I have from the takeaway? We had a Chinese, so I had I tried to make a healthy decision, which is really hard at the Chinese. So I just got beef with mushrooms, which I quite like because, as you all know, I'm a big mushroom fan. I just had that with some salt and pepper chips, which I know are not a particularly good choice, but I didn't have loads of deep fried stuff, which is my instinct at the Chinese normally. Tell you what, it's repeating on me now though. My word. Oh dear. Goodness me.
Thanks for the quality
Sharp
stream.
BR, thank you very much for the sub. Salt and pepper chips, really Chinese. I mean, I can't eat rice, so I can't have rice. And I'm not really a fan of noodles. I say I can't eat rice. I shouldn't eat rice. I try to avoid rice. Rice makes me just poo, like black liquid poo for a day and a half. So I try to avoid rice as much as possible. I would have rather had a curry, to be honest. But Anna likes Chinese, and it's Valentine's Day, which means it's ladies' choice. So we had a Chinese, so I just picked one main and a side. Like, I had half the portion of these chips to go with it. It was fine. Crispy chili beef is immense. It is, and that's what Anna had. And I would usually join her, but I thought that's literally deep fried fatty cuts of beef. That's probably not a healthy choice. I'll have something healthier. Love a mushroom. TMI Kev, just saying I can't eat rice is fine. No, I prefer to give you all the information. I tried brown rice instead of white. All rice does it to me. I just don't really do rice if I can avoid it. And believe it or not, it's really easy to avoid. When we have a curry, I just have the curry with like a naan bread to dip in it. And it's really nice. It's probably it's a lower carb way of having a curry. It's delicious. Am I on track with the diet? Yeah, like I said at the end of today's video, I didn't think that talking about weight loss stuff fitted into this week's video. So I said it's all on the community page, and I put a little post up on the community page letting you know how I got on. So I lost a couple of pounds again this week. I've adjusted the diet slightly, but all the details are on the community page if you want to know more about that. I think it was pretty clear from the views that doing diet videos every week is boring. So they'll be used more sparingly, and I'll make use of the community page a little bit more with like weekly weigh-ins and stuff. Cammy Rants Gaming, thank you for the sub. Curry with naan's far superior to curry with nut rice. Yeah, I think I agree. I was always a rice man until like 5 years ago when it just started upsetting my stomach. And these days I much prefer it with a naan. Although the other day, it was probably like a month ago, the last time we had a curry, I thought I knew what a chapati was. So I ordered a chapati rather than a naan. And apparently I don't know what a chapati was because I was expecting something the size of a naan. And I had my curry and this thing that was like the size of a Tesco mini tortilla wrap. I was like, this is not enough bread for my enormous curry. So apparently I didn't really know what a chapati was. I thought it was a big thing like a naan. Was there a reason I decided to start having breakfast? Yeah, the main reason was I was eating junk at lunchtime. So I was doing that. For those of you who haven't been following the weight loss thing, I was doing just over 2,000 calories a day as my calorie goal. And I was splitting it into 2 meals. So I'd have 1,000 calories at lunchtime and 1,000 calories at dinner time. 1,000 calories at dinner time is relatively easy because I can have a reasonably big dinner and like some kind of sweet treat afterwards, whether it's a 170 calorie vegan cornetto or a bit of malt loaf or a hot cross bun or something like that. And I don't mind having a little sweet something to finish the day off. But trying to get 1,000 calories into me at lunchtime was a challenge. I'd have the 400 calories of my Huel, the 200 calorie Huel bar, and then I was just adding crisps and like another hot cross bun and stuff like that. And I was eating a little bit too much junk throughout the day. So I figured rather than trying to force 1,000 calories into me at lunchtime, which was difficult to do, I got the Huel drinks powder as well. So I now have the 400 calorie Huel for breakfast as a drink. And then the Huel hot and savoury stuff and the bar at lunchtime. So I have 400 calories for breakfast, 600 calories for lunch, all Huel, which I really am enjoying. I really like Huel. And then I only have to think about what I'm actually eating in the evenings. And 4 days a week, Gusto take care of that. So 3 nights a week, I've got to choose what to eat. And I'm still really windy off the back of today's poor decision. Do I weigh myself with similar clothes? If by similar clothes you mean no clothes at all, then yes, I do. Yeah, Huel shakes for breakfast is what I'm doing. And they're really good too. Are they flavoured? What, the shakes? Yeah, I've got the banana flavour and the chocolate flavour, and they're both really good. Huel sponsorship when... I mean, we're kind of at the point now where they don't need to give me any money, do they? Because I'm talking about them a lot anyway. So I think probably if I was going to pursue a Huel sponsorship, I should have sent them an email 3 months ago, said I'm going to start having Huel and talking about it a lot. Money, please. Whereas now it's kind of, I'm already talking about you a lot. I've spent like £300 on your products so far this year. Can I have some money, please? And their response will be, but why? Why do we need to give you some more money? What's the best naan, in my opinion? I like a Peshwari naan. How can you deal with a board that doesn't want to upgrade facilities even though you have 45 million? Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just have to leave or wait. Fred Star, thank you for the Valentine's gift. I didn't get you anything. I feel bad now. I started going to the gym last week, changed my diet. I lost about 3.5 kilograms in a week. Nice. I mean, I'd love to get back to the gym, but they're still closed here, so I can't. Huel coffee flavour is great. I might look into it. I tried one of the bars in coffee flavour this week, and it was quite good. But the thing is, a big bag of Huel, I think a bag of the drinks powder is like 17 servings. So I got 3 bags of it because it was cheaper to buy it in 3. But if I'm having that for breakfast, like I'll probably only have it maybe 5 or 6 days a week. I'm not gonna have it every single day. Because I'll get bored of it. But if I have it like 5 or 6 days a week, that's probably 2 months supply of Huel right there. So it's going to be a while before I can try another flavour now. B. Feenan, thank you very much for the sub. You gave him free advertising. I know, I'm an idiot. Garlic naan is the best. Keema is the correct answer. Peshwari naan, that's right. I love a peshwari. Cheese, chicken and chili naan is my favourite. I've never come across that. Is that a traditional Indian delicacy? Have I had my Weetabix with cold beans yet? I haven't. I might do that at the start of tomorrow's stream. We'll see. Can we all agree coffee is very good? I think we can. We should. What's the best new gen you found on FM21 so far? Best new gen. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. There hasn't really been an obvious standout one, I don't think. Half the ones I thought were new gens apparently aren't. Like all these players I've signed for Arsenal. Not new gens, believe it or not. Hey Kev, glad I could finally subscribe. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. We need an ultimate Twitch poll tournament for the best naan. I mean, that feels like a YouTube community page poll. Harrison Davies is a good shout. I mean, the thing with Davies is it's not like he's the best new gen, because he's probably not ever going to be a Premier League quality player. But in terms of how good he is for the save, he's the standout one, I guess. Yeah, Rui Camara is a good shout. At Arsenal, he's probably the best one if we're just talking purely in terms of quality. I imagine Camara is probably the best. Or Parsons. Liam Lewis, Louis Leonard Parsons. No one knows his real name. Hey there, new to the stream, just wondering what my camera settings are. I can show you. There you go. That's what my camera settings are. Ta-da! I'm usually fully zoomed in, actually. I'm surprised I'm a little zoomed out. There you go. We'll zoom all the way in. Ruby camera's not real. No, he's only like 20. If he's real, he was in the game from like 13, which they're not allowed to do. No Jackie level players yet, though. I guess Camera's probably as good as Jackie, but not signed under the same circumstances. Key highlights. Don't you feel you have to rush changes? I just used this beautiful button at the top here, which I should have used earlier in the game because we've now left it really long. Yeah, just pause it. We'd be here all day. I can't imagine playing anything other than key highlights. Oh, it'd take forever. It'd break me. Gotta have that instant gratification. And you just unpause it again when you're done. Beautiful. What was the name of the regen of the first save of home? I mean, you've answered your own question there, I think. Good old Dean Morris. I got a French centre-back when he was 18 for $5,000. Now I think he's the best centre-back in the world. He's 5-star. My other centre-back is Delict and he's 4.5-star. Wowzers. Did I learn to pause via a Zealand tutorial? Yes. Everything I know about Football Manager I learned from Zealand videos. It's quite simple. You just watch his videos and then do the opposite and then you'll be good at Football Manager. Thank you, Zealand. Clap, 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 clap. Thank you, Zealand. Thank you, Zealand. This is a fake stream. We've lost to TNS but beat Barry. Usually it's the other way around. I know, it's weird, isn't it? Maybe we're not useless. So, I mean, we're still well behind TNS. Cardiff Met Uni are a pain in the trouser leg. They need to get out of the way and let us back into that top 3. Does Little Zealand have anything to say? Yeah, I know. Exactly. I've got a brilliant Italian new gen left winger, dominates games, wins awards, etc. Can't get an international call up. I mean, we've all been there. Serenok Knuhu won the Champions League for Nuneaton several years ago for me. As in, not he was just in the Champions League winning team. He was the man of the match in the Champions League final. He was our inspirational leader, beautiful goal-scoring superstar, and never got called up to the German national team in his entire career. Even though he was one of the best players in the world. It was very odd. I think Zealand should sponsor you at this point, telling everyone to watch his videos. Haha, maybe. You turn attribute masking off and you're golden. Only cowards play with attribute masking off. Gotta have the attribute masking on. What's the point? Cowards, a lot of them. Would I ever put together a best LOLLUJO 11 of all time? I could probably try, but I'd forget so many players. I've played too long now to be able to do it and not forget anybody. I tend to do a player of the year, like a team of the year most years. So I guess I could go back through those videos and pick out the best players, but I think it'd be too hard to narrow them down. When I did my team of FM20, there was so many people furious at players I left out. Can you imagine trying to condense 6 years or 5 years of YouTube into just the 11 best players? And then how do you take someone like Taylor Crossdale, who's now a star of this team, but was also a star of another team 4 years ago in a different game? How are we judging him? It's too complicated. Do I want Colonel Sanders playing centre-back? I mean, the answer is no, I don't really. But we'll play him there anyway. What's the harm? Can you sum up in 10 words this Twitch save so I can catch up? Started, unemployed, got promoted, title challenges, TNS are too good. There you go. 10 words summarized. At Germany, the nation that don't have real players in the national squad. They are, but I put the fix on, so they should have been able to call. Well, they were calling up players. Have I been exporting squads for the LOLLUJO Cup? I have, although I forgot to export Leicester, I think. But I have got. No, maybe I have got Leicester. Maybe it was Posh. No, I got Posh. I don't think I got... I've got most of them, I think. Europa League qualifiers. Yeah, but I couldn't fit that into my 10. Yeah, knew who was a new gen, definitely. How do you add the real German national team? Just Google it. There's loads of places you can get there. It's just a little patch that you add to the game. I think you said you forgot to save Leicester before 5 years in the future. Maybe I did. We'll try and figure out a way around it when the time comes. I mean, it's not a massive issue if Leicester aren't in it, I don't think, because they're a beta save. As long as I have everybody else. I've certainly got Kettering and Posh saved. We can go back and find Isle of Man. Who's the favourite team that's not Posh that I've managed in FM21 so far? Leicester, probably. Really enjoyed the Leicester save. Kettering will be destroyed in the LOLLUJO Cup. You say that, but if Llanelli and Isle of Man are both in there too, and Home, I guess, when all is said and done, will be a good side. But Kettering are better than both of these little non-league sides. Kettering could have a run to the semi-finals If the draw goes their way. Gavin Ozo, thank you very much for the sub. Right, we had a player with a knock there, didn't we? Dun, 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 dun. Wolfman, get yourself onto that right wing. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Home, you were on the verge of sacking this morning. Yeah, I'm not going to get sacked by Home. I hope. Nah, I'm not going to get sacked. What can they sack me for? I don't expect to get sacked. If I get sacked, I'll be very surprised. After all I've done for that club, after all I've done for that woman, she can't sack me. I hope. I guess we'll find out, won't we? To get sacked after 4 consecutive promotions would be the most unreasonable sacking in the history of world football. If Mrs. Wearmouth sacks me, then she can't ever call me again. I mean, that is some definite upside. FM22, you need to have the team at the start when you take the job and at the end of the job to see who is the best one, and the better one enters the end. Well, obviously the one when I leave is always going to be better than the one that I started with. I've got the special talents. I am a special one. I don't leave teams worse than I found them. Just the act of me arriving at a team makes them better by awesome osmosis. I'm at pretty much the same point as you at home and have made it to icon status. That makes me feel so much better. Thanks. My assistant manager being her husband could be a good reason. I know. Luckily, the game doesn't recognise that they're married. You can only put them in as relatives. So they're in as relatives of each other, but you couldn't actually have them in as husband and wife. So I'm hoping the relationship is enough to keep him at the club, but not enough for her to sack me and put hubby in charge. He's a big Kev fan anyway. He keeps turning down managers' jobs because he wants to stay with me, not her. He doesn't say, I'm really happy because my wife asked me to stay. He's really happy because I took the time to ask him to stay. She couldn't care less. Go to Cambridge, Mark. See if I care. I'll buy them then. She probably already has. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I've got a little bit of a blocked nose. That's not a COVID symptom, is it? Should I be alarmed that I feel like I've got a little bit of a blocked nose? Oh, I could seriously do without that. The real question is whether you knew you made that Mourinho reference. What do you think? You have to leave a little bit there for people to speculate about. Got to use the Marvel method of content creation. Always got to leave the little Easter eggs in there, but not make them so obvious, so that people start speculating on your Easter eggs. All I want is for you to talk about my eggs. COVID is grim. I've had it for the last 10 days. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had it last year before testing was a thing. Me and Anna were both really sick for like a week and a half. Probably around April, May time. We could narrow it down even more than that because it was around about the time Animal Crossing came out. So we just both lied in bed playing Animal Crossing. It was the most sick I've ever felt in my life. It was horrible. But that was before tests were a thing that you routinely got. So I don't know for sure that I actually had it, but I'm pretty sure I had it. So hopefully that means I'm less likely to get it again. And I don't think a sniffly nose is a COVID symptom, is it? Imagine ringing up the COVID helpline. I've got a little bit of a sniffly nose. Can I have all of the COVID drugs, please? They'd be like, well, that's not a thing. Any plans for another content clinic? Yeah, but not for a while. Don't want to overdo it. A friend had as a first symptom the fact that he thought his coffee wasn't strong enough. I mean, my coffee's never strong enough. Pretty much anything is a COVID symptom looking at the list. Sniffly nose cannot be on the list, surely. Do we have to get the list up? That'd be real top tier content. Kev looks at the COVID symptoms list to see if his sniffly nose, that isn't even so sniffly that he's felt the need to get a tissue. He just feels a little blocked and is speculating, I wonder if it's COVID. How can you download the home database? It's in the description to the videos. You can just download it from there. There you go. Someone's even linked to tell you how. COVID symptoms tier list. Oh, God. I think it could be. Oh, you better be kidding me. Ugh. Then let's pretend I don't have a sniffly nose. I don't want that. I'm fairly certain I got it after a hospital visit last March, April, and I couldn't move, taste anything, or breathe. It was hideous. Yeah, back when we think we had it, it was before stomach symptoms were on the list. They have now been added, but I just had full-on diarrhea for like 3 or 4 days, had a cough, constant fever, struggling to catch my breath, and just felt like death. You know, felt the worst I'd ever felt in my life. And then slowly but surely kind of got over it. Sore throat and conjunctivitis is on the list now. My word. Colds are still running around as a thing at the moment. Yeah, exactly. I think I've got a cold. Like the really early stages of a mild cold. I laughed the other day when my dad said everyone gets COVID these days. No one just has a cold or a bit of flu. All those common illnesses, everyone's just upgraded to you have COVID. Well, the idea is you get a test, don't you? And then you know whether it's COVID or a cold. Congestion or runny nose is a COVID symptom. Joy. Well, I've got a little bit of that right now. What's the guidance for having that one symptom? Is there anything I have to do? Do I have to now immediately go and get a test? Xana got to self-isolate from work. Bum, bum, bum. Runny nose isn't a symptom. Yeah, I don't think it is. I've not heard of that being a symptom. Although apparently flu cases were down. Funny how either covering your mouth or staying home helps that. Yeah, I know. Everyone washing their hands, wearing masks, and not really seeing other people is stopping cold and flu spreading much as well. Remarkable. Who knew? It's not on the main symptoms list on the NHS website. Right, I'm taking that as I don't need to do anything yet then. What time am I streaming until? Probably another hour or so, maybe a little bit more. Sometime around 10:30, 11ish. I normally get fairly close to 11 if I start a little bit later like I have tonight, but depends how irritated I get by this sniffly nose. Not necessarily. My wife got a test and 2 results back via text, 1 negative, 1 positive. The barcode on the test was the same as another test. Wow. Could it be from my Chinese? I mean, it could just be that. Back during summer, wasn't it said hay fever symptoms could be confused with coronavirus? Runny nose misconception may come up due to that. Maybe. I thought it was if you have a runny nose, you don't have it. See, it's been around a year and people still don't know. It's mad. Was that Anna opening the door? I don't think so. A Kanga raid. An actual Kanga raid. Hashtag me raid. Hello, Kanga. We've actually got some mods in now. Who'd have thought we could have done with you earlier? Let's take a picture of Kanga raiding. Why isn't this working? How do you use this? Smile for the camera, Kanga. Kanga raid. There we go. Little bit of a photograph to remember Kanga's raid by. I took a picture because there was mods in and I was surprised. Better put that back onto video mode or I won't understand why it's broken the next time I try and film something with it. Oh, ba, 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 ba. Stop sniffling, Kev. I mean, to be fair, I've not had that couple of week period that I have every year. This will be it now. This is what's coming. Because every year I get that couple of week period where I'm sort of coughing and snivelling through videos. And sniffling, not snivelling. That's different. Just like coughs and sniffs, and the bit where I cough every time I do a goal and my voice gets excited and I start coughing and it's just, my videos just become solid jump cuts all the way through. Maybe we're due that couple of week period. It's because I'm staying at home. It's going to partly be because I'm staying at home and partly because I'm not working out in a cold garage anymore. Wolfman, on you come. Imagine if all the COVID precautions and measures actually eradicate the flu. I mean, they're not going to eradicate it, I wouldn't have thought. Do I enjoy not working in a garage anymore? Very much so. It's beautiful. What? Who knew being in a warm, centrally heated room inside was good for your health? I know. It's remarkable the things you find out by moving house. What we're going to use as an excuse when we don't want to work. You should always want to work. If you don't want to work, get a job you enjoy. Do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. See? See? Or, alternatively, get one of those jobs where you're allowed a duvet day. Were they a thing, or was that just a myth that was around a few years ago? There were some jobs where you can have a duvet day. I hit 10 months as a YouTube member today. Congratulations, and thank you very much for the support. That was a bit odd, that little bit of defending there, but it was oddly successful as well. I get 2 duvet days a year. That is spectacular. How does that even work? You just ring in one day and say, yep, today's my duvet day. I am not up for it. Is that how it works? I'm so interested in this duvet day concept. It's exactly like that. That is amazing. What do you do? What job do you do that allows you to have 2 duvet days a year? Because I'm just thinking back to when I was a teacher and how well down that would go. Or not. I'm a software developer. Okay, very cool. My last job, I got 3 personal days. Nice. Most people don't even take them, to be honest. I mean, I would. Sports Pool, thank you very much for the sub. I have unlimited duvet days. I love my job, but sometimes just burnt out. To be honest, I can say that I don't feel well and can take a mental health day. Yeah, exactly. They're called childcare loophole days. I don't really know what the theory behind it is. I guess it's just... I think the original theory behind the whole duvet day thing was sometimes people just phone in sick when they're not actually sick because they just really don't feel like it and want to have a day off. But normally you don't just have one day off when you're sick, do you? So you might have 2 or 3 days off to make it more convincing that you're actually ill, even though you just really needed an extra hour or 2 in bed on that first day. So by making it a duvet day, you're just like, yeah, today's one of my days this year where I'm not feeling it. I'm staying at home. I'll be back tomorrow. You don't have to lie to your work. You don't have to fake 3 days of illness. The way business is now, I just take a duvet day and work as a freelancer in bed. Nice. Mental wellness days will surely be the norm soon enough. I mean, it'll be interesting how work and everything shakes up after COVID is done. And so many people are now going to be used to working from home, and businesses who might have been reluctant to let people work from home might see that it wasn't the disaster that they thought it would be. And I think there's probably going to be a big rise in flexible hours and home working being a more normal thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. What I'd like to see is it leading to an uptake in new builds having offices built in them. Yeah, every new build house should have an office as standard, so it's easier for me to find somewhere to live that has an office in. When I worked in Spain, I really needed a day off, feigned illness for a day, but my boss felt sorry for me and came over with homemade soup and fizzy drinks. I felt awful. Oh dear. I think the government will put huge pressure on companies to get people working in offices again. Yeah, maybe. But then, I guess it depends on how much pressure and how that's incentivized. It's been proved that in the UK we work too much, so that we're less effective and efficient than others who work less. I expect things to change over the coming years. Woohoo. With online school, I often just sleep while in online classes and not really learn anything. Stay awake then! My employer has announced we'll all be remote workers permanently. I did years ago. I mean, this is when this will be a year where I got close to 1,000 hours on FM. When I was working in banking, we're going back probably 15 years now. I worked from home, or I was officially working on the road, but I was based out of my house, and it was awesome. We sold our office. Wow. It's been shown that people are more productive doing 4 days a week than 5. I think I'm probably the opposite of that. I struggle to... I don't know, I feel because I'm such a creature of habit. Like, I was going to say I did a couple of hours of work today. I'm literally working right now. I'll have worked 5 or 6 hours today on what has effectively been a day off, but it's felt like a day off because I've only done 5 or 6 hours work on it. Yeah, the idea of a full day off, I don't know what I'd do with myself. I think I'm much more productive getting into a routine of doing stuff every single day. I love working from home, but I feel really sorry for new graduates. Not a great environment to start in. No. I do sleep during online school, but I'm tactical about it. I plan out that I sleep for every other lesson in any specific subject. Therefore, I don't. Why don't you just... I mean, I know this is a challenging one for a lot of young people. Why don't you... Bear with me on this one. Try it out. See how it works for you. Why don't you sleep at night time, and then during the day, just be awake for all of your lessons at school? I'm just throwing that out there as something to maybe toy with. Just to see how it works out for you. Anna's sending me TikToks again. Teacher Kev off the top rope. I know. Sounds like a bit of a stretch. I mean, I know it'll be difficult, but just give it a try. I do go to bed at 12, but it's hard to stay awake while lying in bed. I mean, go to bed at 11 then. Or 10. Go to bed now. Go to bed now and stay awake during all your lessons tomorrow. I'm fascinated to know if streaming still feels like work or less or more taxing than making regular videos. It's a different thing. It's very different. Like, I don't go into a stream, like, believe it or not. I plan my videos. So I think the videos are more structured and they feel more like work because there's a definite routine to them. So I plan them out. I plan what the intro is going to be. I have to go and find out who what channel member I'm saying thank you to. I record them in a certain way using my certain routines of doing it, and then I edit them and do it. You know, there's a lot more work-like tasks involved in making a video, but streaming is more taxing. Like, I can sit and make videos. I could make videos for 12 hours a day, and there have been many days over the years. There's been 2 days this week where I've spent 12 hours just making videos. Because I often like chunk my week up in strange ways, where I'll do like most of that week's videos in like a 2 or 3 day period, and then do other work stuff that's not making videos on the other days, like other behind the scenes bits. And this has been one of those weeks. I've been doing lots of money stuff behind the scenes this week, like financial planning stuff, which isn't even directly business related, but it's all part of the same thing. So I think it counts. But I couldn't stream, or I find it very difficult to stream for long periods of time. I know I've done 24-hour streams. I definitely couldn't do them anymore. I did a 12-hour stream not so long ago, and I was shattered after it. So much harder than spending 12 hours making videos. Because I'm constantly on, constantly thinking, constantly watching what I'm saying, making sure I don't get myself cancelled, and, you know, trying to entertain, trying to make engaging content on the fly, reacting live to what's coming in the chat, reacting live to what's going on in the thing. There's no planning. I don't know where this stream is going to end up tonight. I don't know if we're going to finish the season. I don't know. You know, I know nothing. It's all completely off the cuff. So it's much more challenging. And there's no sitting there on your phone for 5 minutes checking Twitter. More Twitter. So they're really different. What's the usual schedule? Do I record 2 or 3 videos for every series at once? Normally what I'll do is I'll come out here first thing, and I'll usually be ready to record a video for each series straight away. So I'll be out here at 8 a.m. I'll record one of each video, and then get all that footage imported into Premiere and start editing. And while I'm editing on one PC, I'll be starting to play through the in-betweeny bits on the other PC. And then, depending on how big the video is, how much the edit is, I've usually finished editing them both by about 10 a.m. And then I'll just carry on playing FM for the in-betweeny bits whilst doing my under the desk cycling, getting all sweaty. And then usually by lunchtime, everything's uploaded and scheduled. Thumbnails are done. All the SEO and everything is done. And more often than not, the FM is then ready to move on and record the next episodes. So then, depending on the rest of the day, what the rest of the day looks like, I'll either do the same again in the afternoon, because I'm releasing 12 videos a week. So there has to be at least one day of the week where I go through that cycle twice. Because if I just did it 5 times, then I'd run out of content. And things like transfer specials take much longer. So a transfer special day will take almost an entire day of filming and editing. But then in the afternoon, I'll either repeat the cycle or I'll do something else related to something else. There's lots of behind the scenes stuff that goes on, talking to brands, sorting merch stuff out. I'm still trying to get these home shirts sorted. Lots of little bits and pieces. Have I done a workday video? Showing what my workday is like? I haven't. Would that be something people would be interested in seeing? I could maybe do something like that. Kev, you should do a content clinic, but for young and upcoming creators, like a content academy. I mean, I didn't really put an age limit on the last one, did I? I think a lot of, almost everyone we featured last time, I think you'd class them as upcoming creators. Don't know how young they were, but I'm sure there were some young ones in there. I don't sleep during online lessons. I just play FM and stupid little phone games while doing just enough work, and just don't do PE. Oh dear. I love working from home, but we're now working on a flexi-time contract. So as long as I do my 24 hours in a week, they don't care when I do them. See, that's awesome. I think all work should move towards that kind of structure, because that's basically how my work works. You know, I obviously don't have a boss telling me what to do, but I have my amount of work that I need to complete in a week, and I can do that whenever I want. Like, is it next week or the week after? Sometime soon, Anna's working nights. So my whole week will turn on its head almost, and I'll do stuff at completely different times. So you want a work day that, right, I'm writing that in the book now. So if that comes out and only gets 3,000 views, I'm suing everyone who said, yes, please, give me that video. I've got bills to pay. My nose actually feels blocked now. I've just looked down. It's like, ooh, that feels like a blocked nose. Work day. There you go. You asked for it. That means I've got to tidy my office, doesn't it? Got to get all these mugs off the desk. Workday would be interesting. Probably wouldn't get many views. I mean, it depends how I clickbait it, really. I could come up with some kind of clickbaity behind the scenes as a YouTuber kind of angle. There's bound to be stuff like that exists. I'll just steal all their tags and titles and thumbnail style and try and piggyback off the back of something like that. Has to be a time lapse of the desk with the cups building up across the day. I could probably arrange that. How easy is my life as a YouTuber? Maybe. I was talking to Anna earlier. I'm really toying with the idea of doing a how much I earn as a YouTuber video. But I really don't want to feed the richest man in FM nonsense. So I know something like that would get views because I know Lucky Loos would come just because they'd want to have a look. And I think it is... I watch a lot of that kind of content. I find it really interesting to see. But Anna thinks it's a bad idea. She thinks it's me flexing. And she's often right about these kind of things. My work is better than yours. Day in the life of a YouTuber. How I make YouTube pay for my daily food. Sorry for caps. I mean, if it's a YouTube title, it's got to be in caps. They're the rules. Why I'm the richest man in FM. Obviously quite a bit then. Well, I'm not skint. You know, I've got over 200. Here's the flex. I've got over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 500 Twitch subs and a Patreon and merch and this, that and the other. And I do brand deals most weeks. I'm not like on the breadline. Am I or am I not the richest man in FM? I still don't think... I still maintain I'm definitely not the highest paid Football Manager content creator. Birdie Boy, thank you very much for the sub. How much did I earn as a teacher? I was paid quite well as a teacher. And my book, yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't include the book in the video because it wouldn't be... like, I'm not going to take you through my tax return. It would be, look, this is what the ad revenue is. Kind of thing. I wouldn't go into the ins and outs of, but these are my business expenses. And these are my other streams of income as well. It would be, how much do I earn from YouTube? Boom. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you how much I earn from brand deals because every brand deal has clauses in it saying you can't disclose the details of it. So because I tend to, rather than doing one-off brand deals, I tend to do longer term deals with specific brands. By telling you how much I earn in a month doing brand deals, it would be pretty easy to work out how much each brand was paying me. So I can't tell you. I wouldn't be able to even hint at how much I earn from brand deals. If you had a chance to add a new feature to FM that's not there already, what would it be? Picture in picture. When's my best month for book sales? There hasn't been one for a little while because of there not being any exams last year. Traditionally, it would be like February, March, April, the lead into people starting to think about their GCSEs. If we go back a couple of years, usually by the time we got to May's payout, it would be a 4-figure payout for May for the book, because it would do so well in February and March as people are buying it to get ready for their GCSEs. But I've sold very few copies of that book last year because obviously there weren't any exams last year, so people weren't revising. Here's the money I spend on suits. Yeah. I tried finding the young kid who plays for Dortmund. Is he too young to be in the game? Yes, he is. Yeah, you have to be 16 to be allowed to be in the game. What did I used to teach? Computer science. I was going to buy it for my hires, but then exams got cancelled, so I didn't. Sorry. I mean, I wouldn't expect you to. If you've not got exams to do, there's no point owning a book about doing exams. He's 16. Yeah, but he wasn't 16 when FM21 came out, was he? What book is it? It's the Lazy Student's Revision Guide. My book. I just finished listening to your podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I just chose my GCSEs, put computer science as a reserve because iMedia and business seemed better for me. Fair enough. Thought you were a geography teacher. Absolutely not a geography teacher, I'm afraid. Yeah, Dave wrote the book, not me. Oh, my nose is really blocked. This is coming on so suddenly. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting a spontaneous nose blockage. What is happening here? This is mad. You're watching a man descend into sickness in real time. Normally you wake up feeling sick. I feel like it's happening to me live. This is bizarre. Yeah, make sure you're wearing a mask, folks. I might be infecting you. Okay, I have advertising opportunity for you. I may or may not be doing GCSE next year, depending on what COVID allows. Why should I buy your book? Because it's good at helping you revise for your exams and learn exam technique and, well, not really exam technique, study technique, really. And it's cheap and it helps. It would take talent if you infected me from 3,000 plus miles away. I am nothing if not talented. While blocking those comments earlier, did I mistakenly block my nose? I might have done. I think my mum bought your book for me a few years ago when I was in school, but I was too lazy to read it. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Would it work for A level? Yeah, it's not like a specific to GCSE thing. I mean, it's written with like a teenage mindset in mind. Bearing in mind it was written like 7 years ago, so I mentioned Snapchat in it because that was the cool thing then. Should probably update it and swap that out for TikTok now. But yeah, it would help with anyone who needs to study for something. What's it called? It's called the Lazy Student's Revision Guide. Did I download the book to the Kindle that I got Amy for Christmas? I didn't. I really missed an opportunity there, didn't I? Oh, what was I thinking? I mean, she's got access to hard copies. Snapchat's more relevant than TikTok. What? Is it really? I find that hard to believe. Snapchat's just what you youths use to, instead of text messaging, isn't it? But actual time wasting, just looking at stuff, it's TikTok now, isn't it? I should try and bring FM to TikTok. How could I bring FM to TikTok? Perhaps that's how I make my millions. Become an FM TikToker. Right, I'm finding the book. Oh, what a handsome pop. Amazon. Lazy Students Revision Guide. There it is. That's the book. I've purchased it 3 times. It's in stock. Buy it. Foxy's already made FM TikToks. Of course he has. He, like me, is far too old to be doing that. Ruskin, thank you very much for the gifted subs.
Ruskin82 just gifted 5 subs.
Much appreciated. Snapchat to voice chat and messages to text. Okay, see, I'm a little bit out of touch with how the youth communicate. All I know is my kids don't respond to text messages. Bringing FM to TikTok will be hard. TikTok is an app mostly used by children. To be honest, not many kids play FM. I know 3 other people in a year of over 300 that play FM. Yeah. Who's David Chapman? Me! How old is Foxy? Not much younger than me. He must be mid-30s. Surely. I know when I met him, he was already in his 30s. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. He must be like 35. Today is YouTube's 16th birthday. Wowzers. He comes off much younger than that. It's because he hasn't got the beautiful beard. What a difference being fit and healthy makes, eh? Whenever I text my parents, they just respond with okay or the thumbs up emoji, so it's hopeless. See, I don't use emojis. If I sent anyone an emoji in a text message, they'd know it was a cry for help. They'd send the police round. Kev's phone's been stolen. Kev's telling us to send help. He's at gunpoint here. He talks like a young person more than I do. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. I would hate to talk like a young person. I'm not a young person. I'm an old person. Foxy uses youth speak. Yeah, I don't understand youth speak. Remember, although we might be not a million miles away from each other in age, I've got a 19-year-old kid. He has no children. I've been a full adult for most of my life, whereas he's not. My player goes clubbing every week, age 20, and a wonder kid goalkeeper just got his first cap for Portugal. Nice. Any text I send my dad, he replies with X. Doesn't matter what the context or content is. Fair enough. What? Just the one letter, or the X is at the end like a kiss? Is it scary Lucy is the age you were when you had her? No, not really. It's quite cool. It's one less kid I have to pay for. It's brilliant. Just the letter X, nothing else. That's brilliant. Dun, dun. Right, let's get some free transfer jobbies in. Yeah, that's right. He said jobbies again. I can't help myself. It's all about the jobbies. No agents. Oh, no. Oh, right. People ask me what I would fix in FM. For the love of potatoes, would you not just fix it so these buttons stay in the same place rather than constantly moving around? I mean, it's ridiculous. Why are they moving around? Just keep them in the same place all the time. Ah. You could be a granddad. I'm pretty sure I'm not a granddad. And I'm not afraid of being a granddad. I mean, remember, for me, I'm not bothered about my age at all. I think the idea of me becoming a granddad would be quite amusing because I know how much her mother would panic about the fact that it meant she was a grandmother. It would bother her far more than it would bother me, and that would just make me chuckle. But I always used to joke when Lucy was little that, you know, we could be grandparents by the time we were 35 if she took after her parents. Luckily, so far she hasn't. But I wouldn't be the first 30-something grandparent in history if it happened. And grandkids don't cost you anything. Well, grandkids cost you fun expenses. Kids cost you boring stuff like school uniform and, you know, food and a place to live. Whereas grandkids are just like, yeah, let's go and do fun stuff. Here, have £20 just because, you know, I'm cool. Have 20 quid. I'll be a great granddad. Not an actual great granddad. I'll be a very good granddad. Hopefully one day I'll be a great granddad. I think Anna would be happy being a step granny. I don't think she'd mind. She'd get to hold a baby. That would probably make her happy. Girls like babies, don't they? I got the call last week from daughter kindly informed me I'm going to be a granddad. Awesome. Being a grandparent's basically all the fun of children without the stress. Exactly. Can I be your grandkid? No. Great granddad by the early 50s. I mean, I think sometimes I don't know, are some of you saying this because you think it will scare me or bother me? As far as I'm concerned, no pressure on my kids if they're watching, especially the one who's only 14. But, you know, if there's going to be grandkids and great-grandkids that appear in my lifetime, I'd rather they came, not now, but, you know, soon enough that I get to know them and spend time with them and not be like, by the time I was born, 3 of my grandparents were already dead, and the only surviving granddad that I had, he was too old to like run around in the garden with us or play with us, or he was too old to even like babysit and stuff. We just saw him, we'd go to visit him and he was just this old man sitting in a chair. So I never really had like active grandparents. So the idea of being a granddad of like kids that are old enough to play with and take to the football and do cool stuff with when I'm in my 40s, 50s, 60s, rather than waiting until I'm in my 70s or 80s, I think that's quite cool. I'm not bothered about that. I think that would be really awesome. I mean, talk about narrowing down my my target audience. I'm talking about the benefits of being a grandparent here. The 12-year-olds have all switched off and gone to bed. What's Anna saying? Andy's falling asleep in the bath, apparently. MDG Host Dog, thank you for the sub. Better to have grandkids and great-grandkids when you're at an age to be able to enjoy it and appreciate it, not when you're at an age where you can't remember your own name. Exactly. My dad is a granddad to 12 and is only 57. My word, that's a lot of kids. I wouldn't want to be a grandfather until at least my late 50s. Why? What are my camera settings? Are you the guy who asked before? Or is that 2 people have already asked my camera settings tonight? Because that's an odd one. I'll show them again very briefly now. There you go, that's my camera settings. Don't take your grandkids to posh. That would be cruel. I said as a Cobblers fan who would also feel bad doing that to them. Of course I'll take them to posh. It's the only place I'd go. I'd have to get involved and take them to posh because neither of my daughters care about football at all. So there's the danger of when they do, or if they do get married and have kids, that the father of those kids might support a team that's not posh. So I've got to get in there early and be like, right, come on, you come into the posh with me, we're going to fix you. No, you're not a Manchester United fan, don't be ridiculous. Do you want this 20 quid or not? I just absolutely bribe them into supporting posh. look, if you want to be a Manchester United fan like your dad, that's fine. But I'm offering you £50 to be a Peterborough fan. You're 9. Think of what 50 quid can buy you. Is your dad going to give you 50 quid to be a Man United fan? Oh, he is? Okay, I'm going to give you 300 to be a Peterborough fan. Are you a posh fan yet? Just absolutely ruin them. I'm going to be an absolute pain in the trousers. I'm so looking forward to being a weird old man. They're more likely to be an Arsenal fan, probably, being in Peterborough. If they are in Peterborough. The ideal scenario is that they have kids with someone who's not a football fan. So I can just come in and have all the influence. And like, there you go. You are a football fan. Does Owen support anyone? No. So he'd be perfect. Again, no pressure. You're both teenagers. No pressure. TNS is available, did someone just say? Why? How? What's happened there? There's a lot of jobs available all of a sudden. So he's gone to manage Exeter. That is an interesting job jump. Now the question is, do we go to TNS? Oh. Who is Brian Stock? Unemployed. Previously Weymouth manager. Would I even get it? That's right. Imagine not getting it. We need a poll. Do I have to do this myself because there's no mods in again? Let's do a poll. Or is that a poll? Or did I just see a poll appear? No. Of course I didn't. Mods! Doing it myself. Ridiculous. So this is, at the moment, this is just apply. There you go. So the question is, do we apply? MD Ghost Dog to saying that. Did I say it wrong? Apologies. And the non-lethal legend rules, surely I have to. Mr. Tubes, thank you very much for the bits. I'm here, Kev. Welcome. Wow, everyone's saying apply for it, so I guess we have to apply. Do we want to apply for any of the other of these while we're here? Ballymena are down in 11th. I don't think we get that. We haven't been getting interviews from any of the Northern Irish teams. So I think we just sneakily... Ha! Wow! Well. We're never leaving, are we? Well. We're never ever leaving. A couple that I know, one's a Spurs fan, one's Arsenal. The young kid has both shirts, so it depends on who dresses him as to who he's supporting. Oh my word. I mean, you'd think people would plan for this before having kids together. Mr. Tubes, thank you again. Didn't do a catch-up with your vids today. I think I watched... totally did. Yeah, so you did do a catch-up. 5 hours of content today. Good. Sounds like a perfect day. Yeah, one of the first things I checked back when I was a young whippersnapper playing the field, one of the first things I would check with a potential lady friend was that they didn't have any ridiculous football affiliations that would have been incompatible with my own. Love that the interview process was over for a job they were still advertising. Yeah. It couldn't be with a Newcastle fan. I actually went out with a Newcastle fan a couple of times and thought, okay, they're in the Premier League. This isn't too much of an issue. I can cope with this. But it turned out she was like a super big Newcastle fan. She, it was like on our second time, I won't say a date, I've never been on a date. Our second time down the pub. Our second time going anywhere. She brought up Steve Howie in a conversation. And I'm like, no. This, you know, always the long-term planner. If we end up married with kids, I'm not having a kid in a Newcastle shirt. That's it's not happening. I don't need to hear about Steve Howie. Big as in devoted, or big as in she liked McDonald's. Big as in devoted. You and Anna need a date night once the pandemic is over. No, because we're not painfully cringy. Steve Howie, that's a blast from the past. I know, I mean, that puts a time frame on it for you. I mean, this was probably in about 1999, 2000. It's just like, what are you bringing him up for? Why do we need to talk about Steve Howie? It was so traumatizing. I still remember it. I remember where we were sat in the pub. And I just remember my reaction of, no, this is weird. I work with Steve Howie now, sort of. Well, make sure you make him aware that he ruined a perfectly good relationship for me over 20 years ago. By being the topic of conversation on a second date. Wait, so Steve Howie is not good date chat? Not early on, I don't think. How long did the relationship last? About another 3 hours. Oh dear. Single folk take notes. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Steve Howie, I'm glad this is coming up. And making kids support a team. He's a Sunderland fan. Made sure his kids supported Sunderland, not Newcastle. Brilliant. I know 2 people who play for Athlone Town in real life and the job is available. I'm on it. And here's another weird thing about the Steve Howie girl as well. While we're talking about her, why am I talking about this? She was sort of friends with my ex-wife, as in they knew each other because they were in a band, like not like a band, like big band, like thing. I don't even know, orchestra. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. When they were at school. So they kind of knew each other. They were Facebook friends, that kind of thing. So she knew who I ended up marrying and all that kind of stuff. And then after we split up and I started going on dating apps, as you do, discovering the internet, which was never a thing before I got married, but I was dipping my toe in the water. I got matched up with Steve Howie girl again. And it was just like, ignore, immediately ignore. But then I was picking the girls up from their mum's house and she mentioned that this friend had been on the phone to her saying, I've just seen your husband. I've just been paired with your husband on a dating site. She'd gone and dobbed me in. She'd gone and grassed on me to my ex, not knowing that we'd split up, but knowing like they knew each other from the past and were still friends on Facebook. What a scumbag. I mean, we laughed about it. It was fine. We'd been split up a little while at that point. It wasn't like it was, oh, you shouldn't have been on the dating website, you monster. It was just like, so not only did it last like 2 dates and she weirded me out with her Steve Howie obsession, but she then, I mean, what a scumbag. She blew it a second time. She lost 2 chances at this. Can you imagine? Bet she's regretting it now. Now I'm a YouTube sensation. Rule 1 of dating, never trust a girl who likes Steve Howie. Exactly. Sounds like you really dodged a bullet there. Yeah, absolutely. Can you imagine the mentality, though? I mean, it's not like they were friends still. They'd been friends when they were at school. And this was like 10 years later. They hadn't spoken for years. But they, because, you know, you had everyone from school on Facebook. So she had a way of contacting her. But I just can't imagine the mentality of, I know who you are. I think she was still bitter that I didn't like her Steve Howie banter. Right, I can finally get my own back on him. Oh, dating is the worst. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. What did she blow? That's not a conversation for the internet. Oh, what you mean? What instrument did she play? They both played flute. Lost 2 chances at NordVPN money. Absolutely she did. Think of how secure her data could be. She could be watching all of the US Netflix she wanted now without it costing her anything. But she's blown that opportunity. Anna's telling me to be quiet. If only you knew what I was talking about, Anna. Goodness me. It would be funny if she was actually in the stream right now. God, can you imagine? Because it's now another 10 years or so have passed. So it is due for it's like, I mean, if my life is a sitcom or some kind of weird Truman Show style reality TV show, she is due her once a decade cameo where she just comes in and the audience are like, oh, it's Steve Howie girl. What weird stuff is going to come out of her mouth this time? She's had 2 weird storylines 10 years apart. She must be due. This is where the camera cuts, so I just stood across the road looking in the window taking notes. Oh. God. She's probably here. Deliberate Maverick, thank you very much for the sub. She could watch her highlight videos of 90s Steve Howie safe in the knowledge her computer was safe. Is this Anna telling me to be quiet again? It might be. For goodness sake, quiet down. I can't quiet down, Anna. I'm streaming. She's Anna's boss. Oh, dear. Oh, dear me. No, I know what she does. I'll turn the... Right, Anna, come in here. Come down so you can hear how quiet I am. Put some headphones in. You'll be fine. Splendid. Teacher's in a teacher. She's not a teacher in Amy's school. She is a teacher now, which makes it all the scarier. now someone needs to make a Steve Howie #1 fan account. Kelvin, this is Steve Howie woman. Are you free for date 3? No, thanks. You're all right. If the stream does disconnect, that'll be Anna just turning the internet off. And I'll be back tomorrow night. Oh, dear. Well. Shall we move on? YouTube goes down the pan, Kev goes back to teaching, and you meet her. No, she's really weird. She's a weird... I have to be careful, but she is. I'm surprised she's still a teacher, because her Facebook page is absolutely full of students that she taught. She's breaking every rule. I don't know how she gets away with it. Imagine a Steve Howie girl on an episode of Blind Date. She's all the teenage boy's favourite teacher. Imagine if you upset Anna enough, then Steve Howie could cost you another relationship. Oh my word. Am I finishing the season today? No, because the season splits in two. We get the championship group and the loser group. So we might get to the point where the league... In fact, we're not going to. Looking at the time and the fact that I'm already being told I'm being too loud, we'll probably wrap the stream up in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. The next time Anna tells me off, I'll probably have to stop the stream because I don't want to get too much in trouble. Oh, dear me. Do I have a PO box, Curve? I want to send Anna a Steve Howie shirt. I do have a PO box. Feel free. Thanks, Scotty, for helping him out. What years did Steve Howie play for Newcastle? Because I remember thinking at the time he doesn't even play for him anymore. That's what made it so weird. It wasn't that he was their favourite current Newcastle player. It's that he was her favourite player from like 5 years before. We're going deep cuts on Newcastle centre backs from the mid-90s. Oh God. How old am I? I'm 38. Old enough to remember Steve Howie. What a day to talk about all this. I don't even know how this came up. Valentine's Day's silly. See, I'm trying to be quiet now. Quiet. Shh, quiet. ASMR, Kev. Gotta be quiet. This is how we're going to do the rest of the stream now. Just whispering into the microphone. Right, come on, let's have another win. I'd still like some context as to why she felt the need to bring him up. I don't know. I don't remember all the context. I think we were just talking about... I think there was football on the TV in the pub. I guess maybe Newcastle were playing. He certainly wouldn't have been playing, I wouldn't have thought. But then she just started talking about Steve Howie. Isn't she 2 floors above? How can she hear me? I'm not really sure, but apparently she can. And she does send the text just after I've been quite loud. So I guess just because she's like directly 2 floors above me, I guess it just carries up through the walls or something. I don't really know how acoustics in buildings works. What happened with TNS? They didn't interview me. She's a spy. Part of the job description is having good hearing for all the eavesdropping. Yeah. Meanwhile, she's streaming, telling a story about a weird guy who wouldn't stop talking about George Boyd. She loves hearing about George Boyd. You need a soundproof room. I need lots of things. But this room's already small enough for me to soundproof it. It's going to get even smaller. A long throw is an exploit. You seem to have scored plenty tonight. They're absolutely an exploit. But you know what? We're a semi-pro team in a division dominated by a professional team. I am taking every exploit I can get with this side because we need them. We're still not winning the league, ultimately. So I could stop trying to exploit stuff like that. I mean, exploit is a very loaded word when it comes to video games. we've got a team that that it's a successful tactic for. It's something that is proving to work well for us. So we're doing it a lot to try and win more games. Is that an exploit, or is that just trying to win? Didn't mean you were cheating. No, I wasn't saying you did necessarily mean that, but just exploit is, like I say, it's a very loaded word in gaming. What are my objectives with this save? Try and win loads of football stuff. TNS aren't even top anymore. It's because they've lost their manager. We're definitely closing the gap. It's not an exploit, it's the meta. Absolutely. That might be how I start responding to people, actually. Oh, what a finish from Taylor Crossdale. Yeah, it's like in any game. Players all sort of kind of converge on what the successful way of playing it is. And for FM21, set pieces seem to be king. My opinion on what? What are you asking me your opinion about? Someone's asking me their opinion, but I can't see what they want my opinion on. Is Steve Howe your coach in the game? No. Surely it's not an exploit if it's real life football tactic, especially in the lower leagues. Absolutely. Long throws are just playing responsibly for social distancing. Yeah, exactly. Plus, you know, we're in Wales. We're basically doing line-outs, not long throws. What's my favourite top 5 European league to manage in? Premier League, I guess. Set pieces are king, so I should probably replace my free kick taker who's only scored 1 goal in his career. I mean, direct free kicks I don't have a lot of success with. It's more corners and long throws that are the real route to success, I think. So I wouldn't worry too much about not scoring many direct free kicks. I think they're quite rare. I had no idea you had any knowledge on rugby. I played rugby all through school. I played more rugby than football as a kid. That's why I'm built like a rugby player, rather than built like a city footballer. I've never really watched rugby, but I used to play a lot of rugby. AI seems to score loads of direct free kicks. Yeah, they do. I wonder if that's a way of the match engine trying to balance it out when I'm relentlessly abusing long throws and corners. They just try and balance it out a little bit by giving them a little bit more luck with their direct free kicks. Ever tried Rugby Union Manager? I haven't. Rugby is alright to play. Hate watching it. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I used to enjoy playing it, but I can't even sit through a full football match if Posh aren't playing. Rugby just... it's too stop-start for me. Feelings on Scotland beating England last week in the Six Nations. I didn't know and don't care. Like I say, don't really watch it. And when I say I don't really watch it, I mean I've not watched a game of rugby probably since the 2003 World Cup? The Johnny Wilkinson World Cup? I think that World Cup final was the last rugby match I watched. I only ever played one rugby game, tackled a player from our school team, then got beaten up for the rest of the inter-4 match because I dared to tackle him. Didn't want to play that game again. Nice. What Miles told you to call it with the long throws. Miles told me he'd fixed the long throws and that I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. I can watch any rugby game, but if City aren't playing, I don't watch football. Interesting. League over Union, watching the game. See, Rugby League, not interested. We've had this debate on the stream plenty of times before. Because playing Rugby League in Peterborough is not a thing that is available to a young person. So I never played it, never watched it, don't care. They haven't got enough players and they give the ball away if they get tackled 5 times. It makes no sense. Just play proper rugby. And get 15 players on there. Have a proper team, for goodness sake. Does Rugby League even exist outside of Widnes? It certainly doesn't seem to exist outside of that very tight little northwestern corridor. And that one team in London that the Rugby League fans use to justify it being a game that the whole country is involved in. It's not. And I live in a full-on rugby union stronghold now. I'm in comfortable short driving distance of both Leicester and Northampton. So I can't sit here and say Rugby League is good. The locals will break the door down. Used to play rugby when at school. Don't have a clue what sort though. Where did you grow up? And we can probably guess what sort it was. If you grew up anywhere outside of the northwest of England, you played union, almost certainly. Sussex, yeah, you played rugby union. And just like at my school, it was never even called rugby union. It was just rugby because rugby league doesn't exist where I grew up. Bum, 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 bum. If there was Football League and Football Union, no one would be allowed to tackle in League. And they'd only have 9 players. I'm from the northeast. There's very little interest in rugby. Moved to Leicester for uni and I was surprised by the amount of rugby fans. That's because, I guess, because there's good rugby teams locally. Leicester are obviously a very good rugby team. Northampton's down the road with a very good rugby team. It's a very rugby-ish area around here. I mean, we're near rugby, for example. The actual place called Rugby is just down the road. In Liverpool, what type would you play? Probably League, I would think. Liverpool is all football. St Helens is basically Liverpool, isn't it? And they're a rugby league team. There you go. Scotty's come in and said St Helens will be the team for the Scousers. Widnes as well. There you go. See? When I go to watch Northampton, I have to walk past the sparkling rugby ground to get to the Cobblers ground on the outskirts. It's a bit embarrassing. Well, maybe Cobblers should get as good as it's Saints, isn't it? Is that the Northampton rugby team? The Saints, I think it is. Rugby Union's so bad they built the Leicester Tigers Stadium next to the main hospital with A&E. Nice. If you're anywhere along the M62, you probably played League. Yeah, that seems about right. And if you're anywhere else, it was definitely Union. And they just called it rugby. What is rugby union and rugby league? It's just rugby in Scotland. Yeah, because you just play rugby union. I only ever heard it called rugby in West of Scotland. Yeah, you're playing rugby union. To be fair, the Leicester Tigers Stadium is next to the hospital and the prison, so well prepared. Nice. Is league just soft union? Yeah, pretty much. I always saw rugby league as like a bridge between rugby union, which is the full game, and it's like the bridge between that and American football, which is where you play it in a full suit of armour and don't do any proper rugby stuff. It's like a halfway house. What about touch rugby? And that's somewhere close to like American football and rugby league. It's down that end as well. Well, I'm not going to take off Cole Bliss if he's bossing the midfield. I love a bit of bossing. Colonel Sanders is going to have to come on at the back. Rugby league's a faster version of rugby union. I guess you can be faster when you're not afraid of getting tackled. American football started as rugby league, I believe. I can believe that. League is just rough touch rugby. Yeah, definitely. Touch rugby is the same as what Americans call flag football. Fair enough. Tag rugby is top tier. I mean, I wouldn't have been any good at like touch rugby or anything like that because my role playing rugby wasn't, I didn't have a lot to do with the ball. I was more there to just throw my weight around. I'm way too short for rugby. It depends. I mean, you could be a hooker. That's where we always put the little lads. My role in rugby was convincing the teacher to let us play football. Oh dear. I played wing. Yeah, another good spot for the little lads. Kev was the enforcer. I wouldn't say I was the enforcer. That's the beauty of rugby union. No matter what size or ability, there's a position. Most inclusive sport I've ever played. Yeah, I guess it probably is. There's not many sports where you can be pretty good at it being fat and slow. Honestly, did not enjoy rugby in school. Was always the hooker. Some lads in my year were built like you. Yeah, exactly. You'd get the lads built like me who would be the scrum around you, and then we'd just squash the two little guys in the middle somewhere. Just crush them. Absolutely crush them. They're not all fat and slow, though. That's the thing. Only the forwards are fat and slow. The backs are little and quick. I remember the one time where the coach of our school team completely lost his mind and tried to get me to play fly half for a game. And I mean, we lost, as you can imagine. If you know anything about rugby, I was a number 8 usually. And he said, it's basically the same as fly half. You'll be fine. What now? You want me to do what? You want me to hold the ball and run with it? What? I'm supposed to just get hold of it, turn around and fall over and have loads of other fat men fall on top of me. Yeah, he never made that mistake again. Number 8s don't know what passing is. Don't need to know what passing is. Not my job. I'd have the ball between my legs every now and again. Rugby is for posh people. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a posh person. Don't know what you're talking about. Basically, I would be at the back of the scrum. That was my role. The PE teacher wanted me to tackle the person with the ball. Ended up being dragged halfway down the pitch. I remember we had one year at school where we had a kid who'd come over from Australia for the year. I think his dad must have just been working locally for a year. He was only with us for 1 year, but he was massive. He was probably a good foot taller than me and just built like a tree. He was enormous. And when we had like our inter-form rugby tournament, his form won it. I mean, there was no competition because they could literally just give the ball to him and he would just run quite slowly from one length of the pitch to the other with just 3 or 4 kids just hanging off the back of him. It was brilliant. Did I ever hurt myself playing rugby? No, I hurt myself more playing football. The worst injury I ever got playing rugby was I did get like loads of studs in the face. Basically, the scrum collapsed, and because I was right at the back of the scrum, I kind of fell down forwards just as someone else's boot was coming up. So I got the flat studded part of their boot right in my face, which kind of busted up my nose and cut my face up a little bit. But yeah, all my knee problems all came from football. You are quite posh, Kev. I mean, I'm not though, am I? How am I posh? I was slow and skinny, so even though I love getting stuck in with football and broke my ankle, playing rugby was a death sentence. Yeah, that is the worst combination for rugby, slow and skinny. Right, who is Ruben Colwell and do we care about loaning him out? Well, he's not played any football for us, so we're going to reject that one, but we'll offer him out for his full... What's it? Transfer window's open, so we could potentially bring a couple of players in if we can ship enough of these guys out. Michael Hewitt has also not played a single game for us this season, so yeah, he can go, that's for sure. What am I vibrating about now? Oh, I'm now getting my watch giving me a bedtime reminder. All right, watch, reel it in. The team you support is literally called Posh. Ironically, what position did I play in soccer ball? I was a centre-back. Although the only proper competitive game of football I played was in midfield. Yeah, I played centre-back. Check jobs again. I damaged my ligaments in a pothole a couple of months ago playing football in lockdown. Ow. Sound like it hurt. Ballinamallard. It's another club I won't be able to say. Cardiff Met Uni's available now as well. Bray Wanderers. What happened with their manager? So he's gone off. So he's... What? Did they sack him? So he left them. Oh, because it's the end of their season, isn't it? That's weird, though, that he's left. Why did he leave when they finished second? Oh, no, they are second now. So, last season, how do we see what happened last season? Maybe they were rubbish last season. So they finished fourth. That might be worth... Oh, look at that. That's so low paid, though. Their reputation is the same as ours. Oh, that's the second division. Oh, okay. Oh, no, don't care about that. They're not interested. Good spot. Right, we have to do the thing where we offer them out 3 times. Because that's the only way to get rid of them. Which I didn't even know. It's this save that's taught me this is a thing. As long as they're on the list, if you offer them out 3 times, they definitely go. It's weird. Talking of playing out of position, I played either keeper or centre-back or defensive mid. And one game my coach put me at left wing. Nice. Was I good at any sport? I mean, wasn't terrible. I played for my school team at 4 sports. I was pretty sporty, pretty much. I mean, I was big and strong. So anything where that was an advantage, I was quite good at. So I was a forward in rugby. I was a defender in football. I played basketball because I was big. I was a bowler in cricket because, again, being big and strong, I could bowl a ball quite fast. I was a typical number 11 batsman in cricket. I wasn't any good at... There was no defensive flair from me as a batsman. I would just swing the bat as hard as I could. And sometimes I'd get like 12 from 3 fours before I got out. But most of the time I'd be out for nothing. There was no quick singles from me as a cricket batsman. Sure, I was a centre-back. I was a centre-back, yes. I play keeper and striker. What, at the same time? That's an incredible hybrid position you've got there. Are you allowed to handle it in both penalty areas? That'd be brilliant. I'm a centre-back and my manager put me out on the wing. Oh dear. He put us anywhere on the pitch because we were playing a top Prem side as a 4th division team. Nice. How does cricket work? I'm an Irishman who just sees it as slow hurling. I don't know what hurling is. It's just... I mean, I don't even know how to begin to answer that question. You just hit the ball with the bat and try and run between the 2 piles of sticks to score runs. It's like any bat and ball game, really, I guess. It's loosely similar to stuff like baseball and things, I imagine. It's just more civilized and British and takes 5 days to play a game. That's what Donnarumma does for me in the stream of shade. And I guess he is the newly invented keeper striker. Cricket's just rounders for adult men. Kinda, I guess. I'm a goalkeeper as I was 6'4" when I was 14. I stopped at 6'6" and I'm 25 with 2 knackered knees. Yeah, being a big lad will do that. My knees are ruined. You don't want to know what hurling is. It's complicated. I mean, the only hurling I know is what I used to do after a night out. Kev, do a sport tier list. Get me one then and I'll do it. It won't take long. Find me a sport tier list. And we'll do a quick tier list before we end the stream. Well, this will be the last match. If you find me the tier list quickly enough. How can a game take 5 days? That just sounds a little silly. Because it's a gentleman's game. It takes 5 days. You stop at like 3:30 for a cup of tea and a cucumber sandwich before starting up again. It has breaks for both lunch and tea. It's beautiful. If it starts to rain, you leave. You don't play in the rain. It's civilized. You wear trousers. Proper civilized gentleman's sport, cricket. I won't be able to post the link. That's a very good point. Have we got any mods in? Do I know lacrosse? I'm vaguely aware of what lacrosse is. Tier list don't take long with Kev because there's no discussion. Absolutely. I already know the right answer. Don't need to discuss it. Twitter. What? There's already a poll. You've got a tier list for me on Twitter, have you? We'll do it after this game then. Where are we? Where's this tier list then? I don't see a tier list. Somebody tweet it at me. Tweet me a good tier list and we'll do it. I'm 5'7", and after a 30-goal season playing as a striker, my manager decided I was a defensive midfielder. Seems reasonable. Lacrosse is just like boring Quidditch. That's brilliant. Hurling's not complicated. You have a hurl. What? I mean, you've lost me already. You have a hurl and whack the ball through goalposts. It's also in open play, so you can run with the ball. I don't understand. You have a hurl. What does that mean? Yeah, if anyone's got a tier list, then send it on Twitter at LOLLUJO, and we'll take it off there. Hit a ball with a stick into a goal. So like hockey then. Right, Scotty sent me one. We don't need another one. A hurl is a flat baseball bat. Okay. So is it like hockey? A hurl is a stick. Okay. Tell me how it's different from hockey. Have I seen Gaelic football? No. You play hockey, but with your ball on your stick. So it's like a cross between hockey and an egg and spoon race. Is what I'm hearing. That's officially how we're describing it now. That's the official LOLLUJO definition of that. It's a cross between... Was it hurling? Hurling is a cross between hockey and an egg and spoon race. The results of this tier list will correspond with the next set of lockdown rules. Interesting. It's exactly that. That's amazing. No, not like hockey in any way. The ball goes in your hand. So what's the stick for? I'm lost. Why are you holding a stick if you can also hold the ball? Feels like the stick is unnecessary. Basically, hurling with the ball with a ball that is like a cricket ball. Probably harder than that. They have goalkeepers, and I want to know how they even survive a save because it's absolutely mental. Are they all padded up like hockey goalies? You use this, so you're running along with a ball in your hand, and then you just chuck it up and whack it. So how do you get the ball off people? How is it? Can you tackle, or are you just waiting for someone to hit it? Because otherwise, why don't they just run up to right next to the goal and just tap it in? You get it off them with rock, paper, scissors. I like it. We should invent a game. We're close to inventing a game here, I think. If you want to run, you have to dribble it in a way. Okay. Somebody has a ball, you have a bat. It doesn't take a scientist to figure out how to get the ball. Oh, God. You hit them with the stick. This sounds unnecessarily violent. Right, let's get Colonel Sanders on for another game learning to play as a midfielder. They wear shorts and a short sleeve shirt. No shin pads are required. I don't like the idea of this. Kev, will you sponsor my drive-by target shooting sport? Probably not. Dribble by bouncing the ball on the stick. Okay. You have 4 steps and then you can tap it off your hurl or pass or shoot. One of the teachers at Boston Grammar School invented a sport that was a cross of baseball, rounders and cricket, borrowing rules from each. That seems unnecessary. Let's invent a sport that's a cross between 3 very similar sports just to really confuse the students. Everyone knows the best sport is nerdling anyway, which is played in Rutland. The Nerdling World Championships take place in Rutland. And nerdling is basically, this is something we discovered for the podcast years ago. We actually went to the place where they hold the Nerdling World Championships. And nerdling, it basically takes place in this one particular pub that has a bench with a hole in the back of it. And you have to try and chuck a coin through the hole in the bench. That's called nerdling. There's actual world championships for nerdling. That's what I call a sport. They're probably giving that up now they have a McDonald's, I know. That's quite tame compared to where my mind went. Let's take nerdling to a professional level. I mean, we could. Imagine nerdling manager. Shall I become a nerdling manager? Not FM. A nerdling manager 2022 YouTuber. Perhaps that's what I could challenge the Streamer Showdown lot to. Once lockdown is over, we'll have to meet up in person. Look, I am Kevy 11 times by now. It's clear you can't beat me at Football Manager, so I challenge you all to an in-person nerdling tournament. We'd have to go to that one pub, though, because that's the only place you can play it. Because theirs is the bench with a hole in the back. Well, we just scored a lot of goals there, boys and girls. 7 goals. We've suddenly become a good side. We might actually win the league. Matey boy leaving TNS might have turned our season around, because we are ending the stream top of the league on goal difference because we just scored 7 goals. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Tomorrow night is going to be very, very interesting. Right, we're going to quickly do this tier list. Have I got to guess the sport? Is this American based? Have we got any real sports on here? Where's rugby and cricket? This is American. I'm not gonna be lowering myself to American sports. I mean, I don't even know what some of this stuff is. What is that? Is that... No. Just no. Unacceptable. Just put them all on the bottom tier. Is football on here? Is that supposed to be football? That's not what a football looks like. Where's cricket? What's that supposed to be? The flying shoe sport. Ridiculous. Rugby was number 5. Where's cricket? There's no cricket on here. What is that sport? This is a sport of just being American. It's just USA. Just pretend baseball is cricket and nuffle is rugby. Is that nuffle then? No, that would be nuffle, wouldn't it? Right, let's do it quickly then. So badminton, it's just a bit pointless, isn't it? Don't really know what badminton's for. Archery, I really like archery. I wouldn't necessarily call it a sport. It's like calling darts a sport. But it is fun, so I'll put it a little bit higher up. What is this supposed to be? Is this volleyball or something? It just looks like... I mean, if you gave that to me when I was a teenager, handed me that ball, we'd just play football with it. Because it's obviously a football. But then that's also a football. And that's also a football. It's volleyball. Volleyball's all right. I didn't mind volleyball when I was at school. I'm judging these based on how much I enjoy to play them. I don't want to watch any of this. Boxing, I've got no interest in taking part in. It looks like it hurts. Rugby is right up there. Rugby's fun. Swimming's all right. Cycling hurts my bum hole. Tennis, I actually quite enjoy tennis. We'll put tennis. I might even put tennis up there. I mean, 10-pin bowling is not a sport. Should we just put tiddlywinks and lager drinking on here as well? How is that a sport? We might as well have going to the cinema on here as a sport. Bowling is something that divorced dads do with their kids every other Saturday. It's not a sport. It's going down here. Golf is also going down there because it's dumb. I don't even know what this one is. What is that supposed to be? I'm going to need more information on what that one is. Track and field is just running pointlessly, isn't it? Being American, I think this sport is. I mean, what is that, like judo or wrestling or something? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, so it can go there. Water polo, I like playing on holiday. It's fun. Basketball can go up here. Basketball's fun. Table tennis, top tier. Love table tennis. Absolutely love table tennis. USA is javelin. The next one is shot put. I mean, that's not javelin, is it? Because that comes under track and field. Nuffle can go down here because it's pointless. Football is obviously top tier. Hockey can go in here. This baseball I'm using to represent cricket because cricket's not on here. And it can go in there because cricket's just boring. This just looks brilliant because it's a flying shoe, so we'll have that at the top. Lacrosse can go in there, and this one is just, it looks like just like 3 towels hanging off a hula hoop, which intrigues me, so we'll put it there. Boom. Tier list complete. Let's find somebody to raid. Who is on at the moment? Twitch.tv. That's not how you spell Twitch. It's gone to a weird website. Twitch.tv. Is that what that was? Is that cross country? Oh, I see. It just says Ross Count. I thought it was flying shoes. Cross country down here. Bin that off completely. Right. Who's on? Playing Football Manager. Football Manager 2021. Oh, I'm streaming apparently, doing a tier list. Muckins FM. I've never heard of this person, but they've got 19 people watching, so I'm tempted to raid them. Let's do that. Raid Muckins FM. There we go. We'll go and raid them. Like I say, don't know who they are. Never watched them before. They might be rubbish. They might be great. Go and have a lovely time with them. Behave yourselves. And we'll be back here tomorrow evening. Toodle pip, boys and girls. Bye-bye now.
Oh, LOLLUJO. Come on. How awesome is that? Kev, how are you, mate? How is life? How was your stream today? Appreciate it. We're in the semi-finals of a draft here. Oh, I'm in the mud. I am seriously in the mud. We're 3-1 down, 20 minutes into the second leg. What a time for you to come over. Kev, it's one of those weird things, mate, where I've watched you for absolute years. I know exactly who you are. Your content is brilliant. And you come over to me today and you're probably thinking, who is this guy? Who is this guy? But you, my man, you are awesome, so I appreciate the raid. He's paused here, he's paused. New followers. This is ace, by the way. This is amazing. Thanks, guys. This is awesome. This is so cool. Rem Coajnan, thank you for the follow. Glider, Dan LOLLUJO, Everton Finn, Cami Rants Gaming, Fred Star, Thomas MCG, The Bloody Knight, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Zanik. Boys, boys. So cool. So cool. He's saying all the right things. You have my permission to follow him. We're in. We're in. Oh, we've not scored. We've not scored. This is crazy. I don't know what's going on right now. I'm about to crash out of a draft at the semi-final stage.